Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, go ahead and put it in the form that is down in the description of this stream right now. And if you are watching this on the replay, or if you're listening to the podcast audio version of this, I do want to let you know that during these streams, we share a ton of information. And when every stream starts, we have no idea what we're going to get into, because this entire thing is driven by the questions that are asked during the stream. So because of that, I encourage you to skip around and just kind of check out different parts of this stream or the replay if you're catching it on the replay, so that you can, find the information that you want, because it's going to be jam-packed with all types of useful, helpful, informational content related to YouTube and being a content creator and making videos and all of the stuff that goes along with all of that. So I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. It'll help you test your thumbnails to make sure that the thumbnails that you're publishing on your videos are effective for the audience that you are trying to reach, as well as a bunch of other tools. They actually have 90 tools within that tool, within TubeBuddy, that can help you with your YouTube channel. You can try TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. This stream is co-sponsored by StreamYard, which is the live streaming software app, I should say, that I use to live stream this show every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. The reason I use StreamYard is because they do all the heavy lifting for me in the cloud. So I don't have to put all the weight on my computer. I can save that for hardware and some of the stuff that I do here for the scene switching and all of that. But they also make it really easy to bring in guests, which is a really core part of this show now. So, they just make my job easier by having an awesome tool that's easy to use and helps me push out quality content here to YouTube. But you can also multicast if you choose as well, to where you can stream simultaneously from your place out to multiple destinations as well. But you can try that at StreamYard.com. So as we are getting started here, very first thing I want to say is, one, I hope that everybody had an awesome week. I hope that you are ready to learn. I hope you got your notepads open and ready, because we're going to be talking about YouTube and sharing all kinds of awesome YouTube information. But I want to first welcome Original Ryan Gaming to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
So Original Ryan Gaming, make sure that you go to NimminVIP.com. That is our members only Facebook group. So what's going to happen is you're going to click, you're going to go to NimminVIP.com, and it's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Once you get there, fill out all the information on the way in, because I verify that everybody's a member when they request to join. So make sure that you do that when you get the chance. And the links that I mentioned earlier were TubeBuddy.com/Nimmin, and of course, StreamYard.com. So I hope everybody's had an awesome week. I know I'm super pumped up today to get into this live stream to, No, we are not doing that. At least not live. We're definitely not going to do that live. And that's the beauty of live, right? Is situations like that, right? Where just something slips, didn't come out the way that you wanted it to, but here we are. I said it anyway. So good thing that hopefully clips aren't available at this moment in time, because that would have been a funny clip. Okay. So here's what's going on. If this is your first time here, first, just give me a hashtag new if you've never been a part of this stream before, just so I know if I should, go over the information in terms of what it is that you need to do to get your question answered. A lot of times people will think that you have to get a super chat or something like that in order to get your question answered. That is not the case. How this works is I have a form that is linked down in the description below, to where I pull questions from there, and I just go in order that they come in there. And in addition to that, I also will pull them directly out of the chat as well. So what we do with that, when we're pulling them out of the chat, is I'll ask you to leave your question. And when you do that, I'll request that you put a Q or the word question in front of it, so that I can know that your question is for me and not a side conversation that you are having, while you are hanging out here in the live stream. So we have some new people here. I just want to welcome you to the stream. Scorpio Kid, welcome to the stream. I hope you get a lot of value today. Whispering Moon Tarot, hope that you are also doing awesome. Illuminati, that's what I'm talking about right there. What is going on? Welcome to the stream. And we also have Baby in the shop as well. I hope that you are also doing fantastic today, and welcome to the stream. Same as you, Michelle Hawkins. Hope that you are doing great. So, okay. what we're going to do is we're actually going to start this one with the form. And that's typically, hey, what's up, Kitty? Hope you're doing great. That's typically what we do every single Saturday is we typically will just jump right into this form right here because, you know, those are the first people that are coming in and they're like, hey, yeah, I'm going to hit that link down there and I'm going to go put my question in the form because it's free. So, you know, so I'm going to get my question queued up there. And right now there's just a couple. So because of that, if you got a question, like now is the time. All you early birds, now's the time to get your question in there if you have something you want to know about what it is that you're doing. So the very first question here is from Pieces to Props. The type of channels, they make props from popular movies and anime out of EVA foam. And the goal of the channel is to grow my own community and make some monies while doing so. And the question, hey, Nick, happy early 4th of July. By the way, if you are an American, happy 4th of July weekend. I hope that you enjoy the holiday. I hope that you enjoy the celebration, so to speak, tomorrow, when you are, you know, going out and you're watching fireworks and all that good stuff. So I do want to say that. Thanks for reminding me of that. But basically, the question is, I know this is more of a broad question, but I want to grow my crafting channel faster. Some of my videos get about 50-ish views, and the CTR is about 10% across the board, but some of them, I made a Loki helmet video, has about 500 views. So basically, what do I do to grow faster? Thanks for the advice. So what you want to think about is the reason that your Loki helmet probably grew faster is because Loki is a popular series right now, and there's a lot of people just interested in that topic in general. So because of that, what's happening is, my guess in terms of what's happening based on how YouTube works is people are, you know, looking around for information based on Loki, looking for, you know, trailers, they're looking for spoilers, they're looking for, you know, Easter eggs inside of the show. They're looking for all types of, you know, costume related things and that sort of thing. So because of that, what happens is when you publish your video, then YouTube is testing against some of those people. Some of those people are responding, but there's a higher interest around Loki right now. So because of that, you know, riding trends is definitely something that is advantageous for YouTube content creators, especially if you're doing what it is that you're doing, so that, you know, as people are like, hey, how can I make a Loki hat or helmet or whatever you want to call it? Then in that case, you know, your video might be one of the ones that YouTube serves to them. So in terms of why, you know, one video doesn't do better than the other, that's definitely going to be in your stats. And I do want to let you know that the average in terms of click-through rate on YouTube is between 2 and 10%, according to YouTube, but they don't give us impression data that represents that 2 and 10%. So because of that, what you want to make sure that you're doing, because you said it's about 10% across the board, is you want to go in, you want to look at where it's 10%. So for example, if you're looking at the thing inside of your YouTube analytics that looks like an upside down triangle, then in that case, that's just averaging out the information from all the different traffic sources to give you just a ballpark of, you know, what your click-through rate is. The downside of using that specific number is that when you are looking at that number as kind of your guiding light, so to speak, when it comes to, you know, your click-through rate, then how that works against you is because let's say that you have a high percentage of people coming in from your channel page and you have a low percentage of people that are clicking on your videos from home pages. Well, what's going to happen is that higher click-through rate that is coming from your channel page is going to offset that lower click-through rate that's coming from browse. So what you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your average view duration, your average percentage viewed, and your click-through rate coming from browse. You want to look at it coming from suggested videos. You want to look at it coming from search if you're making search-based content, and you want to see what your metrics look like there so that you can make sure that, you know, once you get a baseline of what good looks like when it comes to your content, then those are the numbers to rush against. But right now, if your videos typically get, you know, under 500 views, you know, if you get like 50 views is what you were saying here, on average, then what you want to think about is like, okay, I really need to work on this content and I really need to work on getting people to click on this content because I need to have a video that does better in terms of 1,000+ views on it. And the reason that you need that video is so that you can actually see a picture of what a quality, not quality, but what a performing video looks like on your channel so that you have those numbers that you try to hit, right? So that you can say, well, typically when my videos have about, you know, this click-through rate with about this many impressions on them, and as long as the videos, you know, people watch the videos for about this long and I get about this many people completing the videos, then, you know, my videos will typically perform well. However, if I don't hit some of these metrics, then those videos typically don't perform well. Therefore, I need to just start paying really close attention to the ones that do better, like this Loki video compared to the other ones. So you want to go into your stats and compare this Loki video against some of the other videos that you're doing, but keep in mind that, you know, there is a heightened amount of interest around Loki, like we were talking about before. And because of that, just the broader interest in the topic by itself can cause the videos to perform better because there's a lot more people that are interested in the actual topic right now. So hopefully that answered your question. So let's see here. As we keep on going through our list here, we had a super chat here from Johnny Calbo. Johnny Calbo, wrong one. Johnny Calbo, there we go. Says, I changed my niche from comedy to informational vlogs. Should I private my comedy videos? I'm still a small channel. If you're just getting started and you know for a fact that you are going to, stop doing comedy and you're going to start doing vlogs, then in that case, if your comedy content, actually, if your comedy content is something that the vlog crowd would also enjoy because, you're just doing like skits and that type of thing, then in that case, I would leave it up. But if it's something that is just completely different from what it is that you're going to be providing in the future on your YouTube channel, and you think like, you know what, the people that I'm really trying to reach with my vlog content, like that comedy content, maybe it's a little bit, racy, or maybe it's a little bit, obscene in terms of the language or something like that, to where, it's not really the best representation of, what it is that I can do compared to this blog content or this vlog content, then in that case, you might want to unlist it or private it. However, just keep in mind that if you do end up unlisting or privating a video, and as soon as you take it out of public view, then you also lose your public watch time and view count. The reason that I'm telling you this is because you mentioned that you have a small channel. So if you're still a small channel, there's a good chance that you are going through the process of trying to get monetized. And since you're going through the process of trying to get monetized, every single minute of watch time, every single, everything, every subscriber, all that stuff, counts. So because of that, I wouldn't do that right now if you do decide to do that. So that's my thought on that. Dan Curry in the house, Creator Fundamentals. What's up, Dan? I hope you're doing awesome, man. So just a quick heads up, since Dan's in here, I want to share some information with you guys. So we've got 2 really awesome conferences coming up. For all of you that are YouTubers in the United States, or if you happen to be somewhere in the proximity where you don't have to worry about travel with everything that's going on in the world right now, Dan has Creator Fundamentals, and he has his conference called People of Video that is coming up in October of this year. It's going to be over on the East Coast. And then you have Vid Summit that's coming up in September that's going to be over on the West Coast. So depending on where it is that you live, or, how your time works out, I just wanted to spread awareness about both of those events. But if you go to Google, you type in People of Video, that will lead you to Dan's conference there. And if you go to Google and you type in vidsummit.com, then of course that will take you to the Vid Summit information as well. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that as well. Dan, hope you're doing awesome, man. Triathlon training tips with Coach John. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And let's see here, as we keep on going down the list here. Looks like we got another one that came in here. Yeah, we did. And then I'm going to jump back into the forum here. So this one says, I do Nintendo game-based streaming on YouTube Pokemon, and I've grown to 1.4 thousand. I like other games. Should I move to Twitch for variety or another channel? So one thing to think about is when it comes to YouTube, if you are a gamer, how many gamers do we have in the house? If you're a gamer, just give me a me, if you're a gamer. But if you're a gamer, one thing to think about is that when you are publishing content to YouTube, it's kind of natural for people to be interested in this game and then this game and then this game, because we all change, right? And our interests change, or maybe you'll beat a game and then it just becomes so easy that it's not challenging anymore. And then you'll just move on to something else. So in your world, okay, we got a lot of gamers in here. Cool. So in your world, the gaming world, then what you want to think about is like, okay, when people are playing Pokemon, then if they move on to something else, or if they play other games, for those people, what type of stuff do they play? What type of things do you play? And you can also use your community tab to ask polls around this. You can get a ballpark idea, for the people that you're reaching, what types of games that they play as well. Or just simply ask them in your video, hey, what other games you play? Let me know in the comments. So you can start collecting information over the next, month or so. And that information can help lead you into the games that you can start playing along with your Pokemon content that would still be a great fit for the people that you're trying to reach. So then you're not boxing yourself into Pokemon, but you're literally polling the people that are already interacting with your content. And then you can start noticing, hey, it seems like a lot of these people are also playing this game. So if this is something that I also enjoy, then I'm going to, start making some videos about that as well and see how they do. If it's not something that I enjoy, then I'm going to go to the second one on that list, and I'm going to start, playing some of those games, and I'm going to see how people respond to those as well. So then that way you're not just kind of going willy-nilly and just trying to, make it happen. You're just using the information from your audience to kind of steer you in the right direction to make sure that what you're publishing is going to have a good, good audience at the time of publish. Now, keep in mind, with all channels, if you publish a video today, and even if your entire channel is on Pokemon, if you publish a video tomorrow on like Call of Duty, let's say that for whatever reason that video doesn't do great out of the right when you publish it, then in that case, that video can still find its audience. YouTube can still find the right people to that, and that can end up driving a lot of traffic to your YouTube channel. But the beauty of taking the intentional steps to make sure that you're making something for your current audience is that it helps it at the time of publish, and then it can also continue to do better as well based on how those people respond to it. So it just kind of makes everything a little bit faster. So because of that, that would be the approach that I would take in your situation. All right. So let's see here. Next up on our list. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. So next up on our list here, I'm going to hop into the forum for this one because we had some people, go in there and drop some questions in the forum. This is from Marcus Sapala. Marcus says he does communication tips. The goal of the channel is multiple income streams. The question: Hey Nick, thank you for all your insights that you share. A company gave me $200 speakerphone last year. I loved it. I made several videos about it, and it was a great fit for my audience. Now they've given me the updated model. It has one design flaw that makes me not want to recommend it to my audience. And every other aspect, it's a great product. I'd like to make a video reviewing it, but ultimately not recommending it. Any thoughts? So here's what you got to do. In my opinion, it's very important, even though over time you're going to, go through a lot of people in terms of, a lot of non-subscribers will just come in, watch your content and, move along. And that video will reach a lot of those people. But there's also going to be a lot of people that will come through over time as well. And they're going to, take your recommendations. And when they take your recommendations, it's really important that you're just being upfront, that you're being honest, and that you are, that you're not just saying, hey, this is awesome, just because you want people to get it or because you want to keep the company happy that sent it to you. You want to make sure that you're being as transparent as you possibly can. And the reason for that is because if you give somebody a recommendation and they take that recommendation and it's something that's awesome, then they're going to keep coming back to you and they're going to trust your recommendations. However, you only get one shot to mess that up. And as soon as you mess that up, then they're not going to take your recommendations anymore because they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, they're just shilling this or whatever. So what I would do in that situation is I would tell the company, I would say exactly what you told me here. And I'd say, hey, this is awesome. I think that next time, in my opinion, as while I'm reviewing this thing, I think that next time, this particular feature, could be done better, this design flaw or whatever. And be honest with your audience too. Tell them everything about this is awesome, but there's one thing that I really got to bring to your attention, about this. And then, go through all the awesome features and then save that bad one to the end because you'll probably get more watch time out of it for people, wanting to, wait to see what that bad thing is. But basically, when you do that, then what you're doing is you're being honest with your audience. You're being honest with the brand as well. And, keep in mind, like, the people that send you this stuff, they probably work there. Right? They're probably, the people that are interacting with you, they're probably their influencer marketing people. And, they're not as attached to their products as, we sometimes fear. So because of that, just being upfront with them and being like, hey, this is great. In my video, though, I am going to mention this. And, they understand, how this works because this is what they do, right? For the influencer marketing folks. So because of that, just be transparent, just be honest, be, open with the company and with your audience as well. And that will end up paying off for you much better long term. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on the list, super cool. So Dan, Creator Fundamental, says, Siri said that the community that you guys can use Nimmin to save 50%. Nice. Off of the People of Video tickets. So if you guys decide to get that, just as a heads up, thank you for doing that, Dan. I appreciate it, man. So if you use Nimmin, then that will get you a discount for the People of Video. Awesome. Thank you for doing that, Dan. I appreciate it, man. Okay, so let's see here. As we keep on going through the list, let's see what else we got. I'm liking the background ever since you moved there. Me too. Yeah, me too. Really, like I'm having some issues. I wouldn't call them issues, but like I'm having where like some of the videos and like the angles for the videos, I'm not 1000% on them yet. That's why like in all of the videos that I'm publishing right now, they're from all over the place, right? So right now, I currently have, if I switch to this camera here, this one you should be able to see it. But basically right over back here behind the monitor, you see like this little arm coming up over here, and then you see a light kind of over there. That is kind of the setup. It basically all attaches to the desk. It's basically I have everything kind of built on that one arm. So right now, that's the one that I think that I'm going to kind of roll with, unless I'm doing like a screen recording and I'm sitting here and I'm doing the whole thing here. But for the streaming though, yeah, I'm right there with you. I totally dig it. Totally dig it as well. Chantel, what is going on? I hope that you're doing awesome. Cakes by Choppa, what's up, dude? Nice to see you swinging by here as well. Doug Houston, YT, what is up, my man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on the list, we have, let's go. You know what? Let's do this. We are just going to go ahead and just pull one because they just went ahead and put a queue this way. I will not need to just say, to ask the question. So I'm going to answer this one, and then I'm going to jump back into the form, and then we'll come back over here to the chat, and then we'll just kind of keep rolling that way. So LJ64 says, hey, Nick, big fan. I was thinking of making a YouTube channel where I discuss topics based on MMA and boxing. Would it be a good idea if I also played MMA/boxing video games as well? Try it. Because, if you're into MMA, you're into MMA video games, you could end up, creating a channel to where just people that are into MMA in general, would enjoy it. But keep in mind, you are going to have different folks there because, some people won't really play MMA games because they either don't play games or they don't have time or whatever, but they'll watch all the fights. So because of that, just keep those types of things in mind when you are putting the content out. But absolutely experiment, especially when you're first getting started, because you might find that people really love the game content, but they don't care much for the MMA like the actual, review type stuff with the MMA. But you might also find that they really love the review type stuff with the MMA, but they don't really care much for the gaming. And you want to use that information to kind of guide you in the right path, as long as it's in alignment with, what it is that you enjoy doing, what it is that you enjoy talking about as well. Roger Wakefield in the house. What's up, my man? Hope that you are doing awesome. Let's see here. Lowe's Place says, hey, Nick, I love your content. I have a vlog channel. Purpose is to grow an audience. Question, is it typically difficult to get traction? Yeah, vlog channels can be difficult to get traction. The reason the vlog channels can be a little bit difficult is because a lot of vloggers, because it's about you, because, it's a vlog about, your life and the things that you do and your thoughts and all of that. So because of that, a lot of vloggers will, when they're first getting started, they will make everything just all about like me, right? My trip to the store, my thoughts on this, my, XYZ. And that stuff can work. It can be effective, but I won't say most, but tons and tons and tons and tons of people, it's not effective for. And the reason for that is because from the outside, when you're trying to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, and you're trying to make sure that your YouTube, or not that your YouTube, but that YouTube ends up showing your content to the right people and so on, you got to make sure that you're writing actual real titles for your content. You got to make sure that when you're putting your videos together, that you're not putting it together like something that you're like, hey, I'm going to put this together. So it's kind of like a family video type of thing. Like, you're entertaining people as a vlogger. You are entertaining people. So because of that, you really need to make sure that when you're putting your videos together, that you are putting the content in there that's the most entertaining. And that you also have to make sure that you're thinking structurally, like what it is that you're doing with your videos. And that you also think when you're out in the world and you're out doing your thing, you also want to make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to have epic moments that can be exciting for people to wait through the video to see, things that you can actually use at the front of your video to kind of highlight what's going to be coming up later in the video, right? And in addition to that, as a new vlogger, depending on what your audience retention looks like, I know a lot of vloggers will make like 20 to 30 minute, vlogs. Keep in mind that your audience retention reports are going to tell you if people are actually sticking around for that much time or not. So make sure that you are using that information. What your audience retention is inside of your YouTube studio. For every video that you publish, YouTube will give you a report. It's a second by second report of how people respond to your videos. So because of that, you want to go in there as a vlogger and you want to look and you want to see like, hey, what am I doing in these vlogs that, people are responding positively to versus things that are making them leave. And then you want to use that to create better content, more entertaining content for your viewers so that they'll end up, watching the videos for longer periods of time. Keep in mind, you can also mix, informational things in your vlogs and that kind of thing just to add even more value. So within that, you want to think, yeah, sure, my vlog's about me. However, I'm also thinking of the viewers, and I got to make sure that I'm thinking of the value that's in it for them. Right. So when you're looking at your content, of course, you're going to dig it because you're in it. But when you are looking at your content, think to yourself, like, what's in it? for the people that are clicking on this? What's in it for them? What type of experience am I taking them through? And then, that's after you are thinking of that when you're putting the video together, that's when you use your audience retention reports to uncover if, the choices that you're making in the content are something that people are responding to or not. Another thing you got to make sure that you're thinking about is instead of my trip to the mall, you want to make sure that when you are writing your titles, that you're being very specific or very compelling with your titles. If you go the very compelling route, then you can let your thumbnail do the heavy lifting for you, to where you can go a little bit more broad in terms of the audience for it, but you let your thumbnail do a little bit the heavy lifting for you, and then you get a little bit more compelling in your title. Or just when you're writing your title, just make sure that you're being specific. So I had the opportunity, my friend Owen Video, we did a podcast for like a year or two. And during that podcast, we had the opportunity to interview the guy, Jeff is his name, I believe, from the Weiss family vlogs. And at that time, they had like 300 and something thousand subscribers on the channel. Now I think they're closer to like 7 or 8, and maybe even 900,000 now. But basically, one of the things that he mentioned in his interview was that everything changed for him when he started making sure to add like keywords and making sure to think about the viewers, not necessarily targeting like keyword phrases and things like that for search, but just thinking like, okay, when somebody's, but when somebody sees my vlog on like a homepage or recommended next to other content, like what words can I use as it pertains to the location, as it pertains to, something epic that happens in the video, or just something that the viewer would be interested in? Like, what can I use there in terms of keywords to where, it makes it relevant to the viewer? And one of the things that he mentioned is as soon as they started taking that approach, their channel went from zero traction at all, like nothing, to flipping over and then starting to climb through the ranks, so to speak. And another part of that was that he took his videos that were, like he said, they were just kind of like home videos to where he just put them together and just kind of made, oh, hey, this is cute, whatever. And then they changed it to where it was like, hey, let's make this a little bit more entertaining. Let's pay really close attention to the pacing, the experience that we're taking people through. And they started crafting their content for the viewer. Here's something that's really important for all of us as YouTube content creators to understand, is that in addition to whatever type of content it is that you have, it doesn't matter if you're, teaching people something, if you're sharing your thoughts about something, doing commentary, it doesn't matter if you're it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. When people are watching your content, if you can add an entertaining element to it, then you are kind of leveling things up a little bit, but also make sure that you're thinking like, with whatever type of content it is that you're making, every single video that you publish to your YouTube channel, you as the content creator should know the value that's inside of that video, right? And the better that you know and understand the value that you're bringing inside of that video, you can also kind of leverage that from the outside to where that can be the thing that you're using in terms of your thumbnail and your title to actually bring people into that particular video, okay? Another thing that I would recommend that you do, because a lot of really humongous vlogs do this, is do not have like a big long logo or like a channel logo sequence when your video first starts. A lot of really big vloggers do this to where they'll have like a 20-second sequence that goes on. And keep in mind, they've got, their audience that's, into their stuff and all that. You as somebody that's getting started, I really recommend that you just skip all of that stuff and just get right into the content, right into just giving people an awesome experience with your vlogs. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list here. So Mayuka says, how do you target the homepage? Most research I've done is about SEO. So the reference that I gave last week, and I also gave this in an interview this week as well, and I was going to keep rolling with this one for a while because I think that it's easy, is if you are targeting YouTube search, right? The difference is if you're targeting YouTube search, which keep in mind is extremely powerful, you can get tons of traffic from YouTube search. Like the backbone of my channel was built off of YouTube search, and I still get a lot of search traffic. Search is great. However, a majority of the traffic on YouTube, a majority of the views and watch time on YouTube comes from their recommendation features, which is the homepage and the suggested videos. So what you want to think about is if you are targeting something for YouTube search, how many people here only target search? How many people here, when you publish your videos, are only thinking search? If that's you, just give me a me, just so I can kind of see what's going on and see how long I need to kind of hammer this idea home. So how many people here are search targeting your content? Okay, we got some me's coming in now. We got some me's. Okay, we got a decent amount of me's to get us started. Okay, fantastic. So, okay, here's the thing. When you're targeting YouTube search, the difference is you can and I'm going to use the A10 Mini Pro, which is this thing right here, as the example. So when you're targeting YouTube search, you might write a title that says something like, how to set up the A10 Mini Pro ISO. In under 5 minutes or something like that, so you can be a little bit compelling with it. Or it might be 3 A10 Mini Pro features that that you can't live without, something like that. But when it comes to the homepage, you could have the crossover of that 3 A10 Mini Pro features that that you need to know about. If your channel has a ton of A10 Mini content and you're really targeting the A10 Mini users for that, and you want to kind of keep following that up, then that's a great approach. But if you want to go a little bit more broad, then in that case, you can have a picture of the A10 Mini Pro in your thumbnail, and you can say something along the lines in your title, like this live streaming tool will change the way you stream, or something along those lines, to where you're just leaning on the compelling side of it. Now, of course, in your description, you'd want to make sure that you have, I show you how to use the A10 Mini Pro so that you can change the way that, blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure that you have that information in your description just for the sake of context. But, that's the difference between targeting a homepage and just targeting search, because targeting search, you're optimizing everything for that search term. And you're thinking when somebody comes into YouTube search and they see this, then I need to be able to get them to click there. But when you're thinking of home, then you got to think, okay, how can I make this a little bit more broad to be able to reach, the same people that I'm trying to reach ultimately, which in that case would go from somebody that's just trying to figure out how to use the A10 Mini Pro to now I'm targeting live streamers, right? And I'm introducing them to the A10 Mini Pro. So what you're doing in that situation is you're just taking two totally different approaches to what it is that you're targeting and how it is that you're trying to bring attention to your content and who it is that you're trying to bring into your YouTube channel as well. So that's the difference between the two. Let's see here. So ASMR Dream More, what's up? Hope that you are doing awesome. Okay, so for this next question here, I'm going to hop into the forum, and then we will hop back into the chat. So this one is from N6 Games. N6 Games says they do content bi-weekly. The type of channel is game reviews. The goal of the channel says right now, I'm just trying to make better videos, but eventually get monetized. Any tips for getting a ring light to stop reflecting off my big, dumb glasses? Yeah. So as a fellow bi-speckled man, I am indeed bi-speckled. Thank you. As a bi-speckled man, I thought you'd understand. I do. So when it comes to getting the light to stop reflecting off your glasses, you can actually see my screen right here. Like if I cover up this part of my screen and some of this, then it kind of goes away a little bit. But as soon as I move that out, then you get to see some of those reflections on my screen, and I just got to deal with it. But when it comes to lighting yourself, when it comes to a ring light, you're just out of luck. So what you're going to need to do is take it, your camera from inside of the middle of the ring light and move the ring light off to the side and up a little bit. And by doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to take that light out of your field of view. So when you're rotating your head around like this, your light is going to be up a little bit further away, and it's going to be about 45 degrees off to the side, and you're going to have that light hitting you from there. Now on this side, what you can do, how many people here wear glasses and have problems with getting the light in your glasses? To give me a me, I'm just curious. But basically, like when you are doing that, if you only have the ring light to work with, then in that case, you know what? I'm actually going to show you exactly what I'm talking about for this example. Hold on.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So this right here is a really cheap solution that you can use. And this is literally just a piece of foam from like a craft store. You can get this for, I don't know, probably like 20 cents or 30 cents or something like that. And what happens is when you put your ring light over here, then you're going to end up being kind of dark over here. So depending on your setup and how close you are to walls and things like that, you might get enough light over there. But if not, that's where you get something like this. And then you also put this up, a little bit high, and you can kind of move this thing around. Let me do it this way so you can see a little better. There we go. But you kind of move this thing around, and the light is going to come from this side, and then it hits this, and then it reflects off of the white surface. If it's a wall, if it's this, if it's a poster board, whatever it is, it's going to bounce off of that, and then it's going to help, fill in the light from the other side of your face. So what you would do is you would have your ring light off over here, and then you would have this also up over this way to where it's bouncing off of that, and then you are good to go with not having the light. Now, keep in mind, if you're like all over the place like I am when I'm making content, and you're moving your head all over the place and you're just kind of animated, then in that case, you're still going to get it from time to time, just because, if you're moving around, looking around, that kind of stuff, you'll still get it. However, it'll be massively, massively reduced. Okay, so let's see here. How to get suggested. So according to YouTube, the way to get suggested is to have content that performs well on the platform. Of course, the YouTube recommendations, they come from content that people typically watch together. And it's also content that is topically related. And then there's also just some randoms in there to where YouTube will just think that, hey, based on this user's history, this is something that we, that they might end up liking. But when it comes to getting suggested or showing up on home pages or staying in search, basically just getting your videos anywhere to where you just keep getting traffic from them. It looks like my thing reset. That's interesting. It just like reset out of nowhere. Yeah, don't care much for that. But anyway, like when it comes to getting suggested, it's all performance based. So if you are not good at, and this is fine, before I say this, if you're new to YouTube and you're just getting started, which means that you're new, but if you're new to YouTube and you're like having trouble right now, like getting people to click on your content and like watching the content for a fair amount of time and all that stuff, don't stress out about it. It's normal. It's part of the learning curve. You're not doing anything wrong. You are not, incapable or anything like that. The only thing is that you just haven't went through the process yet, right? Like you're still on that particular part of the learning curve, and there's a big learning curve when it comes to YouTube. But when it comes to getting suggested, it's all performance based, which means that you have to be able to you need to be able to get people to click on your thumbnails and titles at a competitive rate compared to the other content that YouTube is suggesting around the platform at that time. And you also need to get people to watch your content and further engage in your content at a competitive rate compared to everything else that's happening on the platform at that moment in time. So because of that, if you're not getting any suggested traffic or you're not getting any search traffic, you're just not getting views at all, it means that people are currently not responding to what it is that you're doing. But again, that doesn't mean that you're like, that you should stop or anything like that. It just means that, now your goal or your task that you have in front of you is like, okay, hey, if I want this YouTube thing to work out, I need to learn how to, make thumbnails. I need to learn how to write titles. I need to learn how to, edit my content in a way and put my content together in a way that people respond to. And I need to come up with topics for my content that people would be interested in as well. So you got to make sure that you are thinking of those things when it comes to your content, because that is the only way that you are going to get suggested on a regular basis on YouTube. Is if you put out content and people enjoy that content over and over and over again, then you will continue to get suggested traffic. If you publish content and people don't click on it, they don't watch it, or if they do watch it, they end up leaving, just a handful of seconds once they're in, then you're not going to keep surfacing on the platform, because there's so much content on YouTube that is already proven to be high performing that yours will end up getting, I don't know if demoted is the right word, but it'll end up getting demoted. And then other content that's proven to perform will end up getting, suggested to those people. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on our list, I'm going to pull this next one here from the forum, and then we're going to jump back into the chat. So Cup of Joe, love that channel name. Matter of fact, gonna take a sip of Joe.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. They do daily content, and the type of channel is a YTP channel. The goal of the channel is to become known for something. And the question is, what can I use to grow my channel on iOS? So here's the thing. When it comes to growing your channel, there's nothing that will grow your channel like good content. Because, a lot of YouTube content creators, and again, this is something to where, you're not wrong, or you're not, taking the wrong approach or anything like that. It's just a lot of new content creators just don't know, because this isn't something that you do yet. So a lot of people will come onto YouTube and they'll ask me in my comments, and, they'll send messages on Twitter, stuff like that, to where they're like, hey, I need to use something in order to get views. Like, what can I use to start getting views on my YouTube channel, right? And the reality of it is there's tons of tools that can help you like do better on YouTube and better understand, what's going on in your YouTube, and help you keep track of what it is that's going on YouTube, and test things with your YouTube channel and help better target your content and things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you, and it comes down to the content that you're putting out and the choices that you're making within that content. Because if you are in the process still to where it's like, man, I can't even make I haven't even learned how to make titles yet. And I don't even know, how to put a thumbnail together yet. And I still haven't learned how to even edit yet. I'm just kind of uploading raw, content or just very lightly edited content or whatever. And if people aren't responding to it, because sometimes people do respond to that, but if people are not responding to it, then in that case, then what you have to do is you have to roll up your sleeves and you have to get to work on learning how to do those things and building those skill sets so that you can learn how to make that better content that people respond to. Because there's nothing out there that you're going to be able to install on iOS to where you're just going to be like, hey, I'm going to put this in, and then now all of a sudden views are going to come in. So a lot of people will think that with TubeBuddy and, all the other tools that are out there, they'll be like, hey, I'm going to put this in, and then my channel's going to blow up. And that's not how it works. It's a tool, just like you would use a screwdriver and a hammer and a saw and, all this stuff to make a house. TubeBuddy, it's got all, 90 tools in it, and those will help you build your house. But at the end of the day, you got to be the one actually building the house. And you do that through learning how to make good titles, thumbnails, and content that people click on and enjoy. And there's not a shortcut to any of this, unfortunately. There's things that you can do. There's strategies that you can apply to your channel that can help. However, when it comes to, installing something that helps you grow, that's actually going to, not do anything for you unless you are using it to help you make better content or to better understand your content, your audience, things like that. However, there are some really cool things for iOS that are awesome. So for example, you have Affinity Photo, which you can use to make thumbnails. You have Pixelmator that you can use to make thumbnails if you're trying to learn how to make thumbnails. You have Canned, which is it attaches to your keyboard on your iPhone. Who here has an iPhone? Just say me if you have an iPhone. But it attaches to your keyboard, and it makes it to where you can put in all these canned responses, recommending playlists to people, things like that. And you can use that to speed through comments and that sort of stuff. The Creator Studio app by YouTube is another one, or YT Studio is another one that you should use. All of these are solid. We got YT Studio in here. We got the YouTube. We got Monday.com, which is a content planner, YT Sticker, YT Tracker, TubeBuddy. So all of these are things that you can use on your end, as a content creator to, just kind of help you with the process. But again, it's going to come down to you in terms of the choices that you're making and if it's going to, help you in terms of views and all of that. Okay, so we got a lot of me's here on the iPhone too. Yeah, so Canned, for those of you on an iPhone, just a heads up, Canned is awesome. So here, I'll actually show you here really quick. So with Canned, if I were to go into the YT Studio here and I were to, I'll just do this just because it'll be a little bit more interesting to watch maybe. But I'll go in here and then I will, let's see here. We'll just click into this comment right here. So one of the cool things with Canned is as I click into this, and you're probably not gonna be able to see it there. But anyway, I can switch to Canned. And then you can see here that I just have canned responses, and I can click on these, recommending the Creator Academy to people. When people, hit me up on DM for consulting requests, I have my list of trusted people that I send them to. People are having AdSense issues, I have links to where I send them to there. All of these different things, based around, the community and what it is that I do that help me get through my comments and that just help me add value to the community faster, because I have all of that stuff just built in, and I just got to, go in, find it on my list, click it, and then it's done, versus having to go find the resource, copy the link, write all the stuff around the link, and then, drop the link in there and then send it. It makes everything way, way, way faster. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on our list, we are going to go back into the forum for this one. Then we will hop back into the chat here. Actually, you know what? I did that on the last one. So now what we're going to do instead is we are going to just pull this out of the chat. So if you have a question, just put a Q or a question in front of your question, and so I know it's for me, and we'll just pull one out of the chat right now. Let's see here. So Tradewater Magnet Thrower says, what's the best time to drop a video? Should you stay on a schedule? Staying on a schedule is definitely beneficial. And the reason that it's beneficial to stay on a schedule is because, it's twofold. One is, it just helps your viewers know, the people that are into your content, helps them know when they can expect content from you. And, just kind of keeps things consistent, with your YouTube channel. And depending on, your content, you can actually watch your waves, just kind of, you just kind of ride the waves, so to speak, with the content that you're putting out. And when it comes to the Okay, thank you, Doug. I will check that right now. But the second part of that, when it comes to staying on a schedule, is that it helps you, because YouTube you're going to be doing this for a while. Right? If you're just getting started now, you're going to be doing this for a while. If you've been doing this for a while, you're going to be doing it for a while longer. So because of that, like building it into a schedule to where not only are you publishing on a schedule, but you're also creating on a schedule as well, so that you can put out content consistently over time. That becomes really beneficial, because then it becomes a habit to make content instead of like, oh no, it's Wednesday and I haven't made a video yet. So then it just makes everything a lot more consistent with what it is that you're doing. So it helps you in that way. Now, when it comes to the best time to publish, first, the thing to think about, which this information can get skewed a little bit based on when you publish on a regular basis anyway. But one thing that you are going to find is inside of your YouTube analytics, YouTube shows us like an audience graph that lets us know when our viewers are online. So you want to make sure that you're publishing like right as those people are coming online. But also from time to time, like you can experiment with like, publishing at an off time and things like that, and just see if, you end up getting a better response that way. But, when they are showing you like, this is when your viewers are online, that's what's great for like premieres, live streams, that kind of thing, to where you need them like right then, right there. That's where using that graph is really advantageous. But other things to think about, just so that you can, have it just for things to consider, is when you are thinking of the best time to publish, also think about who it is that you're trying to reach. So, for example, if you're reaching, single parents that are also, professionals, then in that case, publishing in the morning probably isn't the best time, because those people are probably in the process of getting kids ready and getting them off to school, plus getting themselves ready and heading to work to do their thing and all of that, to where they wouldn't really have that time, to watch the content, to where, maybe in the afternoon for them to catch it during lunch, or maybe in the evening, once they get off work, that might be the time that you want to publish in that case. Same exact thing goes for the days of the week as well. Like if you are trying to reach younger people that are like in school, then in that case, publishing on the weekend, might be a great fit for you as well, or publishing either before school, to where, everybody's like riding on the bus and that kind of stuff, or to where it's after school, to where, they can watch your stuff on the bus, or, right when they get home or whatever. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we got Curtis says, why do you use all caps in the form? Because people commonly ask for channel reviews in the forum. So that is just to bring attention to them that the not to ask for channel reviews in the forum. All right. So let's see here as we keep on going. Okay, so question, my earnings are being deducted every day from past 1 week. Approximately $50 daily gets deducted from my earnings. I'm recently got monetized. What should I do? So just as a heads up, inside of your earnings for YouTube, those are estimates. So it's not actually official until the month is complete. And then they actually, issue that payout into AdSense. So because of that, I wouldn't pay too much attention to, fluctuations throughout the week or throughout the month or even throughout the day in your AdSense, because it is going to go up and down every single day. Sometimes it'll go up for a few days. Sometimes it'll go back down, then back up. And it's all based on, who's watching your content, the ad inventory at that time, just how many monetized views that you've had, that sort of thing. So it's going to be fluctuating a lot. That's just part of the gig. So don't worry about it. What matters is what actually ends up getting sent to AdSense in terms of like, this is how many monetized views there were. This is how much this creator gets. So that's where you should start paying attention to that. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we got Shark Scrapper. What's up, Shark Scrapper? My man, hope you are doing fantastic. Says that they do entertainment and education content, and the goal of the channel is to share what I do and make a little bit of moolah. He didn't say moolah. He just said had a money sign there. I used moolah. That was all me. And the question is, a recent video of mine apparently had some issues playing for some of my audience. Some of my regulars reported that they were unable to watch the video. They would get an error message. Others had no trouble at all. Is there anything that I can do to help resolve this when it happens? Thanks, and keep up the awesome work on our behalf. So when you run into situations like this, sometimes it's just like, sometimes there's just errors. Keep in mind, like they're serving like over 1 billion people on the platform. So, of course, they're going to have issues from time to time. So because of that, I wouldn't worry about it, too much. If they do report it, of course, you can send a tweet to Team YouTube on Twitter. You can, at Team YouTube, and you can just let them know. They'll send you back a canned response. They'll be like, oh, we know about this issue, whatever. But just in case, there is a problem going on that they don't know about at that point in time, then, that's just an easy way to spread that awareness about it. So Doug said that there were some super chats that came in, so I'm going to refresh this here. ASMR Dream More said, nice keyboard. Thank you. I'm glad that you like this keyboard. Yeah, so Editor Keys sent me this. I have another one on the way too for Logic, but this one is for Premiere Pro. But I shared like a really close-up picture of this on Twitter, so make sure that you guys are following me on Twitter. You can find me there by the same name, of course. But basically, this has all the keyboard shortcuts on it. It's got my YouTube channel down here as well, which is pretty cool. And it's got my logo on there, that type of stuff. But yeah, really cool thing they sent over. Launchpad Astronomy, Christian, what's up, man? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Hope you're doing great today. Hope you're getting off to a great day. Let's see here. So the super chats that came in, just to make sure that I don't overlook anybody here. We got Sammy Sense. Super chat. Says, hey, Nick, I'm reintroducing my channel with 30 backlog videos to roll out. Do you suggest to post them to get current or keep a backlog queue? So I would not just flush those out. I would not just publish those all at one time. Figure out what your schedule is going to be and say, okay, I'm going to publish, a video a week, 2 videos a week, 3 videos a week, whatever it is that you're going to do. And then go ahead and start publishing the videos at that cadence. So don't just dump them all on there because you'll end up working against yourself in that way. But what you want to do there is you just want to say, this is the schedule, and I'm just going to, publish them according to that schedule. Let's see here. It is for Premiere Pro. Let's see. The next one here is from Traveling Man Las Vegas. And says, why do only 15% of subscribers watch our videos? So when it comes to YouTube, some channels, depending on, the personality, you'll typically see like with vlog content, you'll have like a lot of people coming back. Entertainment content, you'll have a lot of people coming back. But depending on what it is that you're doing, it's just content that, either people don't have the time to watch all the time, or they just come in, based on the thing that matters to them, not necessarily the personality, right? So you'll have the people that will come in because they like your stuff, and then you'll have the other people that are coming in just because of what it is that you're talking about. So when it comes to having 15% of your subscribers watch your video, that's okay. For your channel to thrive, you actually need more people that are not subscribed watching your content anyway. So typically, if you have a lot of people that are not subscribed watching your content, then your channel is typically growing at a fair rate compared to if you have a bunch of people that are just subscribers watching your content. Because if it's just subscribers, then you've already got those people on board and you're not growing, right? But if you're getting in front of more people that are not subscribed, then of course that gives you the opportunity to convert them into subscribers, and then have those people start coming back as a larger 15%, right? So if you have 15% of the people coming back and you've got, 500 subscribers, once you get 10,000 subscribers, that 15%, all of a sudden becomes, a much bigger number compared to if you had 500 subscribers. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Rafferty Refined. Rafferty Refined says, hey, Nick, you're doing awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Says, wondering, is it possible to revive old videos that didn't perform well with SEO Studio from TubeBuddy? So what you want to do is you want to look at your audience retention for those videos. You want to look at your click-through rate for those videos because they didn't perform for a reason in the past. So it could have been your targeting. It could have been, how you actually are presenting those videos from the outside. The packaging is what we call that, to where, maybe you just weren't being compelling enough, or maybe, you didn't have the right keywords there or whatever, to where people couldn't really understand what the video was about or something like that. In that case, then absolutely you can go through and re-optimize the video and kind of, make sure that you're doing everything the right way now that you know how to. And in some cases, as long as people start responding to that content better, then YouTube will start showing it to more people. However, if people start responding to it less, or it stays about the same, then it's going to perform even worse, or it's going to just end up, not really doing much. So because of that, when you are making changes to any of your old content, the first thing I would do is I would look at your audience retention. And I would also think through, because you got to, keep some of these things in mind. You want to look at your audience retention, see how people responded to the video anyway. You want to look at your click-through rate from all the different traffic sources, see how many people ended your video, all that. How many people click on your end screens, going to other content. You want to look at all those things, but you also want to look at it, kind of remove yourself from it and look at it and say, okay, if this is showing up in search for somebody, if this show up on a home pages, whatever the thing is there a way that I can package this better to where it's more representative of what they're actually going to get? Maybe I've learned how to be a little bit more compelling now, those sorts of things. If you can do that and you think that the changes that you're going to make are going to help the people on YouTube respond to your content in a better way, then in that case, give it a shot. Literally, it's not going to take you a long time to do, so give it a shot. However, I wouldn't spend tons and tons and tons and tons of time doing that, just trying to workshop that video until, it performs. Instead, I would take what you learned from that video, and then I would try applying that to another piece of content, a new video, maybe an updated version of that video that didn't perform well. Maybe now that you know what you're doing better, you'll be able to make an updated version of that. So I'll use myself as an example here because you watch my content. So it was like within my first 5 or 10 videos on my channel, I made a video about how to name your project, right? And because I wasn't, targeting YouTubers at that time. So when that particular video about how to name my project ended up having 50 views on it, something like that. And then later down the road, once I, established my channel as a YouTube help channel, then one of the videos that I made was how to name your YouTube channel. And that did great. And it ended up, getting a fair amount of views on it. So I was like, hey, let me go back and change this one, just kind of reframe it around YouTube. And it ended up doing better. Just because I reframed from the outside what it was, even though in the video I'm like, this is how you name your next project. The information was very similar to how to name your YouTube channel. So I'm like, let me just, kind of repackage this, and people started responding to that video better. So, you can definitely bring, videos back to life. You can also make updated versions that just decimate the other one in terms of performance. So, you just have to look at it and think to yourself, just think the whole process through in terms of, okay, if I do change this thumbnail, if I do change this title, is it going to be something to where I think that it will help the people that I'm trying to reach respond to this in a better way? The answer is yes, give it a shot. Right? Give it a shot. It's only going to take you a little bit of time to do. But I wouldn't spend tons and tons of time on it. But I would just do it with a few videos that you think should have done better, and just see, wait 3 months, maybe even 6 months, and see if you notice a difference on those. And if so, then, you can go through and do more. But if not, then in that case, I would just focus on the new stuff. Let's see here. So Tier Talk, what is up? Hope you're on great. Says, what about when you have videos that have good engagement but less views, and some videos that have more views but less engagement? All of that is normal. So one thing that you can't have on YouTube, and with anything really, is you can't have the same exact result with everything that you're putting out there. So that's why it's so important to establish rough baselines or strong baselines with what it is that you're doing, to where you can just say, okay, based on the content and the performance that I typically get when I do these specific types of videos, this is about how my videos perform with about these numbers attached to them in terms of your click-through, retention, people completing the video, all that. So you want to just kind of build just an idea of what performing looks like on your channel. But keep in mind, sometimes, you're going to get crushed with views, but the people aren't going to, it's not going to hit people as hard. So because of that, they're not going to end up commenting as much. Other ones, maybe the views aren't going to be there, but man, you might have said something in that video that really resonated with people, or showed them something, or, done something cool in your video, based on, whatever type of content you happen to be making. Or in your case, with the podcast, that, you might have mentioned something in your podcast where people are like, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to leave my thoughts on this, or subscribe, or whatever it happens to be. So, because of that, you can definitely go, in all different directions with your, how many likes you're getting, how many comments you're getting, that kind of stuff. One thing you can use that for, though, just as a heads up, is you can use it. If you notice, hey, these particular videos, even though they have similar view counts, these have way more engagement on them. Go through and just start making theories, come up with ideas, why do I think these have more engagement on them compared to the others? And, listen to both of them, or watch both of them, and try to kind of unpack, look at the comments of what people are saying, and just try to unpack, what is it about this content that, resonated so well with people that caused them to comment on this? Did I simply ask them to comment, or were they just really enjoying it? Or maybe I said something that, that just really impacted people, and because of that, they ended up commenting, a lot more on these videos, or liking them a lot more than the other ones. So, those are the types of things you want to look for. Let's see here. I think, Sino, thank you for the super chat there. And let's see here. We got the vlog taken care of. We got that one taken care of. Okay, so that brings us up to date, I believe. So now we're going to hop into the forum really quick. I'm going to answer a question here out of the forum, and then we will hop back into the chat. So get your questions ready. So really quick, before I do that, though, just because this is an easy one, Alton Gaming says, I wanted to ask, what free editing software do you recommend for Minecraft style videos? So for free, there's DaVinci Resolve. And that's pretty much, the standard for the free video editor. So if you are, if you are wanting to use a free video editing software, without watermarks, all that stuff, then give DaVinci Resolve a shot. Keep in mind, it can be a little bit taxing on your computer, a little bit heavy, so to speak, in terms of the memory required on your computer. But it'll definitely get the job done for free. So our next question here is, we got Shark Scrapper taken care of. So now we are on to Night Owl Pictures. Night Owl Pictures says they upload when they have time. They do comedy skits. The goal of the channel is to become full-time. And the question, do I still need to worry about keywords and such if my channel is based around comedy sketches and short films, or should I focus more on thumbnails and titles? Focus more on thumbnails and titles, but try to include keywords. Don't think of keywords in this scenario. Don't think of keywords in terms of like, hey, this is something that I'm trying to research so that I can actually have it show up in search or something like that. Think of keywords in this case as, let's say that, because we talked about Loki earlier with the pieces of props question. So let's say that your entire skit is about Loki right now because it's popular, right? So then in that case, you'd want to make sure that the imagery in your thumbnail had something to do with Loki. Maybe you dress up as Loki or whatever. You'd want to make sure that Loki was in your title somewhere. And that would actually be the keyword. And the keyword in that sense isn't there for the sake of necessarily ranking in search. It's there for one, context for YouTube, but also so that when people see that on their homepage and suggested videos, that to them, people that are into Loki, they're like, oh, this has something at a glance, right? It stands out to them. This has something to do with Loki. This is something that I'm interested in because it has something to do with Loki, right? That's what keywords are in this sense, is you just got to think about the people that I'm trying to reach. How can I demonstrate to them that this is something that they're interested in? And the way that you do that is through the keywords that are actually going to trigger their consciousness, so to speak, or their awareness to say, hey, this is, what this video is about. And it stands out to them just because it's something that they're interested in already. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. We have, hold on, I got to check something here really quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, so next up on the list here, we've got Steph's Styles. Says, hey, Nick, happy 4th. Happy 4th. Says, have you heard of VTubers? What would your advice be for someone that is wanting to become one and blow up the algorithm? So I'm not sure what a VTuber is, but in terms of blowing up the algorithm, so first off, it's really important to know that, when it comes to YouTube algorithm and all that stuff, it's something that's thrown around just because it's I think it's thrown around because it sounds smart. You'll see people on the internet that are hey, this is how, I figured out the algorithm, or they'll say things like, hey, I'm trying to get the algorithm to work for me, right? They'll say things like that. But what you want to think about is, YouTube tells us that the algorithm follows the audience, right? So what that means is that if you publish content and people respond positively to that content, then the algorithms of YouTube is going to continue to show that content to more people that it's predicting are also going to enjoy that content. So what you have to do if you're trying to blow up the algorithm, or if you're just trying to get the channel, taken off, you're trying to get a lot of subscribers and views, it's going to come down to performance, just like everything else. So what that means is you have to get really good at being able to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, get people to watch what it is that you're doing, get people to share. If you're trying to blow up, you got to get really good at getting people to share your content. You got to get really good at being able to make content that either super entertains people, really entertains people, just like if they're watching TV or something. And you also have to be able to impact people to where they're like, oh, wow, this is a great, great video. I'm going to share this, I'm going to share this with my buddy, share this with my mom, share this with, my friend, that sort of thing. If you're really wanting to actually, blow a channel up, you got to think broad audience, general audience, so that you're going out to, as many people. But then you also want to think okay, people have to respond to what it is that I'm doing. Because if they don't, then no shout out, no group thing where everybody's recommending each other, none of that stuff, none of it's going to work unless your content itself is solid. That's the thing that makes videos blow up. It comes down to the topics that you talk about and how people are interested in those things. It comes down to, your ability to get people to click on them and your ability to, take care of that viewer once they actually do click on your content. So you want to make sure that you're keeping those things in mind. Let's see here. So next up, I'm going to hop into the chat really quick. I know there's some other super chats came in. I'm going to hop into the forum. Really quick. I'm going to answer another question here, and then I'm going to jump back into and take care of those super chats. So the next one on this list is from Bobby in the Shop. Bobby in the Shop says that they do how-to content. Goal of the channels, they like making things like props and woodworking. So that's the second props one today. And the question is, I'm a kid making YouTube videos about making stuff, and I would like to know how to grow my channel more. So one is the core things you got to think about, right? Because, you know, all of us, like if you're watching content like mine, we all make content on, you know, the core fundamentals of YouTube, but we also make content on, like, you know, tips and tricks of things that you can do if you're getting traffic already tips and tricks of things that you can do to get more traffic, get more views on your videos. But also we talk about things that you can do once you do have those views coming in to kind of amplify what's going on in your channel. So because of that, watch my content, watch other people who make content like mine. And I also recommend that you go through the YouTube Creator Academy. It's free. YouTube put it together. There's a link to that down in the description below. It's going to teach you a lot of best practices about YouTube. They even give you like little quizzes and stuff like that. But I really recommend that you go through that as well, because it's just going to teach you a bunch about YouTube. And if you want your channel to grow more, then, you know, the core thing that matters. The reason I went on that little rant about like the tips and all that is the thing that matters over everything else is how people respond to what it is that you're doing. So once people are responding, then, you know, there's some creative stuff that you can do, but you got to first work on that core part of getting people to respond to what it is that you're doing. How do you get people to respond, right? So when it comes to getting people to respond, the very first thing that you got to think about is topically making stuff that people are proven to be interested in. So that can be, you know, depending on the niche of content that you are making, that can be something that where you're teaching people how to do stuff, to where you're lifting them up in terms of encouragement. It could be something to where you're motivating people. It can be something to where you're, you know, just showing people a good time in the content through like vlogs, that kind of stuff. It can be to where you're making people laugh. Like, you know, value is expressed in a bunch of different ways, but you got to make sure that you are, let me take this down really quick. But you got to make sure that you are, you know, giving some type of value to the people that are in your content. But you also, from the topic standpoint, you got to make sure that, you know, it's something that they care about, and you have to figure out, how do I make people click on what it is that I'm doing through the imagery that I'm using in my thumbnail, through the title, because they work together. So for example, a huge mistake a lot of YouTube content creators make. Hey, Christina. A huge mistake a lot of YouTube content creators make is they'll make a thumbnail and they'll just plaster it with text. So instead of writing a title, or instead of writing a good title, they'll have like a title that's really long, and then they'll take that entire title that, you know, like, you know, I have a title this long, and then they'll try to cram that entire title into their thumbnail. And it ends up taking up literally the entire thumbnail with all of these words that people, you know, just don't sit there and read. The idea with the thumbnail is to grab somebody's attention, right? It's about comprehension. Like, you see that thumbnail, it's going to just pull them into it, and then it's going to give them some type of context or some type of curiosity to where they're like, hey, you know, what's going on here? They look at the title, they either click straight through, or they look at the title, and then they make the choice of if it's for them or not. So, you know, you have to make sure that you are getting really good at getting people to respond there. And then, of course, once they actually click on the videos, which is like a whole thing that we could probably do a whole 3-hour live stream about, just talking about, you know, videos and editing videos and how to get people to respond to your content. But in terms of, you know, getting your channel to grow more, you have to do all of these things. That's why I recommend that you start with the YouTube Creator Academy, because, you know, it's going to teach you some of the foundational stuff that a lot of YouTubers overlook. And then from there, you know, start, you know, just testing content and just getting that feedback from YouTube on how people are responding to what it is that you're doing, using that information to make changes to your content. And then, you know, just kind of rinse and repeat that process over and over again until you find, you know, the right stuff that works for you and the people that you're trying to reach. So next up, we got Kung Fu Hot Dog. So I'm talking about a Kung Fu hot dog. Let me tell you the image that paints in my mind when I see a Kung Fu hot dog. Oh, man. So what was that? Man, there was a cartoon. It was like, I don't think Pixar did it, but it was basically like all of this food in a grocery store. Can't remember what it was, but really funny. Like, I'm thinking about that, but like related to Kung Fu. Says, hey, Nick, YouTube sent me a congrats email today for passing 100 subscribers. High five and fist bump to you. Nice work on crossing 100 subscribers. Says, why is that number so significant? And any advice for me going forward? So that number is significant because one, that's, you know, your first 100 subscribers, right? That's a big deal. So that's number one. Number two, is that also unlocks something for you on YouTube to where you can get your custom URL. And what that means is if somebody goes to youtube.com currently, if you were to copy from your channel page, if you were to copy out the URL of your channel page, the web address of your channel page, it'd be like youtube.com/ a bunch of letters and numbers, just this random string of stuff. But what you can do now is you could do youtube.com/ Kung Fu Hot Dog, as long as nobody else is using Kung Fu Hot Dog. So basically it's kind of like a official type of thing. So like once you cross that 100 subscribers, like now you're official, right? Now you're doing the thing. So next step from there, because you said what to do moving forward. So now you're official, right? And you can get that custom URL once they send that over to you. If you just got it today, then in that case, it might take a week, maybe 2 weeks, but you'll see a notice in your dashboard letting you know that you can get it. But the next thing on your list then will probably be monetization for YouTube. So then that will be the next thing that you strive for, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. So now that you've got, 100 of those behind you, now you've got 900 more to go, plus the watch time attached to that. So what I recommend that you focus on moving forward is education. Either through experimentation or through content like mine. If it's me or if it's other people who make content like me, it doesn't matter to me as long as you're educating yourself. And then there's also the YouTube Creator Academy. And there's also just some online resources as well. There's a lot of courses out there, that kind of stuff that you can go through just to get a better understanding of what it is that you're doing. But at the end of the day, just focus on, skill development and education for the next while, because there's a lot of different approaches that you can take to YouTube, and a lot of them work, a lot of them don't work as well. So because of that, just focus on education and on skill development and on testing the things that you're learning, and then applying them to your channel, seeing the results that you're getting from them, taking the feedback that YouTube gives you through your analytics based on how the people are responding to your content, and then just kind of rinse and repeat that. Okay, I got this data back. Now let me, try making some changes and then apply that to my next video. Let's see here. Next up, we got Infliction. Let's see. And it just went past here. Where did it go? Where did it go? I can see it here on this screen. There we go. So Infliction says, what platform or articles can I utilize to find upcoming trends so that I'm able to improve my gaming content? So for the gaming world, if you have specific games, like a specific game or games that you play, I would definitely hop on Reddit, because I know that like devs and stuff like that will leak stuff onto Reddit sometimes. So I would definitely be on the subreddits around your game, because you're going to get a lot of information there about what people care about around your game, and you're also going to get some insights for things that are on the way. In addition to that, I would send an email to every gaming company that you represent their game. Let them know, hey, I'm a YouTuber. If you have something coming out, if you have any, releases that you do, beta releases, anything like that, like anything that I can do to help, let me know. I'm here, right? So just reach out to them in that capacity. In addition to that, I would definitely make sure that you check Google Trends every day. If you go to trends.google.com, then you're going to see a search bar at the very top. So there, I would just put in, whatever your game is there, so that you can see any information that comes up there. But I would also kind of sort by gaming, because one of the things that you can do here, I'll actually trends.google.com. One of the things that you can do is, we'll just say here, Call of Duty, and mine is actually set to Thailand. Let me change this really quick. We'll just go worldwide. Yeah, so one of the things that you can do here is you can actually save pages, right? And with saving pages, one of the things that's advantageous here, and I'm going to share the screen here just so I can show you what is up. Let's see here. Okay, so right here, this is what Google Trends looks like, right? So you can see up here at the top one, trends.google.com is where I went to actually, find this. But what I did here in this example is I put in Call of Duty. And I just went broad with this. Of course, I could have put in, zombies or whatever, or World War II or whatever, Black Ops. But I just put Call of Duty, and then I narrowed this to worldwide, and then I put the last 7 days. And then here I'm going to switch this over to, actually, I would keep it at web search really for what it is that you're doing. But of course, you could have a window for each where you can check YouTube search and web search. But the idea, what you want to actually use this for is, I have this narrowed down to the last 7 days. You can take it all the way down to the past day, the last 4 hours, last hour. But what you want to keep an eye on is this information down here. This information down here is going to let you know anything that's on the rise right now. So like, let's say, for example, like Call of Duty Slipstream, that's something that within the last 7 days is on the rise. It's a breakout thing. The 2K Battlegrounds, that's another one where people, are just interested in these specific things. A Call of Duty mobile update. They had a 250% rise in traffic for Call of Duty mobile updates. So you can make content about that. But basically, you can see down here as we keep flipping through this, you have different pages that you can go through as well. But I would just check this every day. So one of the things that I do with this is I have something that pops up. So when I start my browser, I have Google Trends worked into my startup process. So I have Google Trends, I have my content schedule, I have my Google Calendar, my YouTube backend, all, like a nice handful of things that I have open. As soon as I click to open my browser, just kind of this cascade of windows happens, and Google Trends is one of those, but I just have it set to general so that when I see it, I see just what's happening in the world right now. It's kind of a way, one, for me to get news, but two, I have a lot of friends that are YouTubers, and that allows me to be able to see that. And if I notice something to where I'm like, oh, this would be a great fit for, somebody, then I'll send them to that and say, hey, just a heads up, this is trending right now. So for example, apparently people are having problems with Facebook, right? How they just keep turning light mode back on. And a lot of people are looking around, at least it was like a week or two ago, all of a sudden you're like almost to the top of Google Trends was, Facebook dark mode. So I hit my brother up, I'm like, hey dude, great opportunity. You have a lot of dark mode stuff. I guarantee this will do well on your channel. But he was like, yeah, I just don't, I'm not interested in making that video right now. So he didn't do it. But, that's just one situation that you can use that for. But everybody here should be using that just to, keep you informed of what's actually, popular in the type of content that you're making right now. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. Okay, so GoFundMe says a VTuber is a YouTuber that uses virtual puppet that the person controls it uses it instead of their own face. It's an emerging but huge market now. So thank you for that, GoFundMe's. So when it comes to that, I've seen some of those channels on the virtual puppets. So one thing you got to make sure that you're doing if you're doing that type of content is that you're just, being super entertaining, super funny, based on what it is that you're talking about. And I would also just try to make it, look cool instead of having it look janky. I would make sure that your audio is awesome for it. And I would just think, okay, I'm competing with a lot of other people that are doing something similar to this. So because of that, I just need to make sure that mine is going to stand out. One of the ways that I can make sure it's going to stand out is making sure that my audio is good, making sure that even though it's a puppet and I could probably do it in room lighting, I would even, if it was me doing it, I would still try to light that puppet in like a, in like a cool way. And I would try to build, different environments for that puppet that made it, just kind of look, way cooler so that when I'm entertaining them, they're not thinking about, they're distracted by other things that they're seeing in the scene. They're just, focused on the entertainment because the entire thing would be built around the viewers that would be interacting with that content. But thanks for the heads up on the VTuber there. Let's see as we keep on going down this list. So Patrick Guide Barcelona just got into the YouTube Partner Program. Congratulations. Says a lot of engagement with travel restriction advice videos. Lately, kind of worry it's niching down too much. Thoughts? So one of the, if you're making travel content, I would definitely be talking about, travel restrictions. I would also talk about, if it fits into what it is that you're doing, I would also talk about, like if you're doing Barcelona guides, then I would talk about, these are the things to do after the events, we'll call it. But, these are the things to do after. These are things that are reopening, that kind of stuff. I think it's fine. And then what's going to end up happening is once things kind of stabilize and get back to normal, then you can just kind of shift into, whatever it was that you were doing before, or just general, guides and information about Barcelona. But I don't think it's niching down too much. Like if you are like that, that's one great example of being a big fish in a small pond, right? Because in that scenario, one of the things that you're going to have to your advantage, like if you live there, is that you can just continuously make content about it versus a travel vlogger that's just kind of coming through town and all that, so that you can really become a very strong authority resource around Barcelona if you end up, fully building that channel out. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. We've got, how do you find your target audience and create videos that they want to watch? So this is a pretty complicated thing. However, there are also general ways that you can do this as well. So when it comes to finding your audience, the very first thing, of course, that's important to think about is what is it that you're trying to do on your YouTube channel. So if you have the thing that you're trying to accomplish first, then of course you can think to yourself, okay, if I'm trying to accomplish this, then I need to make content for people that are interested in this in order to help me accomplish that, right? So you can take that approach. Another approach that you can take is, I love to make this type of content, or I really enjoy this type of content. So how do I really understand this content in a way that I can kind of put everything together that will really resonate with the people that I'm trying to reach? In that case, one, think it through. Two, you can also just kind of study what it is that other people are doing with similar content in terms of, the specific things that they're saying in their videos, the specific things that they're using in their titles, the imagery they're using in their thumbnails, things like that, to resonate with the people that they're trying to reach and help those people identify that the content that they're making is for them. You can use that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, one of the approaches that I recommend that you take is to first just really know deeply what it is that you're trying to do with your channel. And then from there, think, okay, if this is what I'm trying to do, then I need to make this type of content in order to get in front of the people that's going to help me, do this. Or to be able to, add whatever value to that particular group of people that I'm trying to reach. But at the start, of course, you can go as granular as you want in terms of I'm going for age group, I'm going for location on the planet, I'm going for, the things they like to do in their spare time, that sort of stuff. You can go really granular like that, or you can start and just be a little bit more broad to give yourself a little bit of flexibility when you're first getting started to kind of pivot around a little bit, just to make sure that you're making content that you're going to enjoy making for a longer period of time. But at the end of the day, just think, okay, if I'm making a video about, I'm not sure what the Everything Studio is, but because you say the word studio, I'm just going to think music or maybe video studio or something. So since you have the word studio in there, let's just say that it was musicians. One of the things that you could think about is, okay, if I'm trying to reach musicians, then what instruments is it that, those particular musicians would be playing? What level of musician am I trying to reach? Where in the world am I trying to reach those musicians? What is the age bracket of those musicians? Would I want those musicians, or do I think those musicians should be single people or married people, or do they have kids, that kind of stuff? In ways that you can start to uncover some of that is, one, if you have any type of access to the internet, which you do, then in that case, you can go on Facebook and start asking, questions in different groups. Let's say that it was about music, then you can start, just polling people there on Facebook and to be like, hey, what type of YouTube videos do you watch? And then literally go look at their profiles and then start, hey, okay, so this person here, they say that they watch, these particular channels and that they watch this type of content. Let me just pop open their Facebook profiles and just kind of start collecting some general information based on, those people that are interacting with these posts. Once you get your community feed on YouTube, then you can also start going more granular as well, to where you can also start asking specific questions. You'll see in my feed, I've got questions in there what do you do after work? Right? Just because, it just kind of helps me uncover just a little bit of information that I can also use in the language of my videos. And then I can also just see how in sync I am with the people that are watching the content as well. So when it comes to your audience, there's different approaches to it. But at the end of the day, just thinking it through and then, using the things that you do have available to you in terms of the internet to try to uncover information about people that might be interested in the type of content that you're making is the approach that you want to take. Let's see here. As we keep on going through the list, we are going to, on this one, we are going to go into the form here. And this is Bobby in the shop. Bobby, nope, we did Bobby in the shop already. Sorry, Bobby. So let's see here. Next up, we've got Original Ryan Gaming. Original Ryan Gaming says that they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is for entertainment and informational purposes. The question is, what's the best tool to create better thumbnails? Also, as it pertains to gaming, what should I focus on in my thumbnails? So in terms of the best tool, in my opinion, Photoshop. Now Photoshop comes with a learning curve. However, with Photoshop, you take the brakes off. You can literally make anything that you want inside of Photoshop. Now there's also templated sites that you can use, like placeit.net, canva.com. Both of those are also templates. There's also thumbnail maker apps that you can use as well, to where, you can use any of those things. But if you want the best option to where you can just take the wheels off and you can just be as creative as you want to, for example, I have this one here. I'll just show you this really quick because I think it's funny. Let's see. So Photoshop, for example, the video that's being published on Monday, this particular thumbnail right here. Let's see here. Let's stop that screen. And we will go to another one. So like this thumbnail right here, for example, this thumbnail is done in Photoshop. So what I did is I found a stock photo of somebody wearing a bag over their head. So I bought that off of Adobe stock. Here, let me take this graphic off of here. There we go. But I bought that off of Adobe stock, and then I took one of my thumbnails, and just so it still has like a similar look to my stuff. But I took one of my thumbnails and I just put that bag over my head, so it almost looks like I'm wearing it. And then the rest of the stuff is still similar to some of the previous thumbnails that I've made as well, to just kind of help you recognize it a little bit. So we'll see how you guys respond to that. If you see it, make sure you click on it. Make sure you watch the entire video, by the way, because it's about how to make videos without showing your face. But just make sure that you watch that entire video if you do click on it. But you should click on it. That's how you do me a solid, right? Click on it, watch it to the end, right? Share it with a buddy too. But anyway, when it comes to making your thumbnails, like Photoshop is definitely going to be the thing that's going to take the training wheels off and let you be able to do whatever it is that you want. Tons of great information out there about how to use Photoshop. You can get the basics up pretty quick. There's a channel called Piximperfect. Great teacher for Photoshop. And then of course, Adobe by itself, they have their own YouTube channel as well, where they have a great, great resource there. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. Let's see here. So Michael Saves says, I have two topics that rank I have two topics that I rank for with my website. My YouTube, I've noticed down to just one. Second topic did okay on YouTube, not great. Second channel. Also, did you make a second channel? So first off, if you have two topics that you rank for with your website, I would just look at your website as a completely different thing that's kind of unattached from your YouTube channel, unless you are intentionally sending traffic back and forth. But if your website is for the purpose of driving any types of like leads or sales or like anything like that, or even building yourself as an authority in your space, then in that case, I would definitely make sure that you are syncing them up in terms of the things that you're talking about. But if you're like, hey, my website's one thing, my YouTube channel's another thing, and I'm cool with doing another channel in terms of if content doesn't fit on one channel, I can do another one, then I would definitely consider that. But first, I wouldn't make that choice based off of like one or two videos. What I would think about is okay, the people that I'm trying to reach with my content as a whole, just like with your blog, the people that I'm trying to reach, even though this content might not have performed well, is this still a good resource for those people that I'm trying to reach? And when you're looking at your YouTube channel, you want to look at it from the perspective of, when you're thinking of niching down, you want to look at it from the perspective of, like, I'm trying to reach this audience. What would this audience enjoy? So it can be, that you have like this particular, set of content that audience enjoys, this set of content that this audience enjoys, this set of content that this audience enjoys, and you make all of them, but you also understand that, some of the content doesn't perform as well as the other content, maybe because it is, a more detailed thing that just doesn't have as much broad of an appeal. But that piece of content, when you publish it, is still a valuable resource for the people that are interacting with your content and the people that you're ultimately trying to reach. So because of that, even if it didn't perform well, if it's still a good fit for your audience, then, definitely leave it on the channel. But if it didn't perform well at all, in terms of people like clicking on it, watching it, nothing else, but everything else in your channel does awesome. If you don't think that it's a good fit for the people that you're trying to reach, then of course I would separate it out. So one thing to think about when it comes to YouTube is you're ultimately building a resource for a certain type of content for a certain type of viewer. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is that you're just thinking about that when it comes to the content choices that you're making, and just looking at it from, okay, the people that I'm trying to reach, just like the people with my blog, would this content be a good fit for, those people? If the answer is yes, then it's going to do its job. If the answer is no, then in that case, that's where you would think about like, okay, I need to put this on another channel because this particular channel isn't the right fit for this. Let's see here. But another thing I want to tell you though, really quick, is if you do have a blog, like YouTube can be amazing traffic source for your blog also. So of course you're going to leverage Google for that. But YouTube can also send a nice amount of people over to your blog as well. And you can also I'm not sure the approach that you're taking, but if your strategy is like, okay, I'm trying to rank videos in YouTube search, and I'm also going to, be compelling about them so I can get homepage and suggested traffic as well. But I'm ultimately, targeting search there. And the idea for that is so that you can also have videos show up for search results on Google and other textual search engines, then in that case, what you're doing is you're giving yourself the opportunity to be able to rank on Google for like multiple things for one subject that people are coming in for. So when it comes to your content strategy for your blog and your YouTube channel, I would think about that. And I would also think about, okay, if I'm writing this article about this thing for this audience, then I'm also going to make a video about this thing for this audience as well. You can do it at the same time. You can do them on a delay to where you do one first and then the other so that you can embed the video, that kind of stuff. But the idea is I would just think of it from that approach so that you can, if you're targeting search, that you can, end up having videos show up as well as your web page show up as well. Let's see here. As we keep on going through the list, we've got another super chat, and I'll get to that right here in a second. Need a coffee.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Right now. That's the voice of Mike Russell, by the way. Music radio creative. Awesome. If you guys need like voiceover work, anything, he does it. Neil, I don't know if Neil does it. Urban Explorer, he's usually hanging out in here. He does voiceover stuff too. I don't know if he's still doing it, but really good stuff from him as well. He did my comments over coffee stuff. Shayna Jane is our next question here. They do daily content. They make food and Roblox taking. The goal of the channel is to get 1,000 subscribers. The question: how old do you have to be to go live, and how many subscribers do you go live? So if you are on a computer, you can go live, right away after you verify your channel. If you are on a phone, then you have to wait until you have 1,000 subscribers to go live. Unless you use a third-party app. If you use a third-party app, then you can come right in. And in terms of the age, you're supposed to be 13 years or older in order to have a YouTube account. Let's see here. That's a good question, though. So next up on our list here, we have a plus Russian, A plus Russian, not a plus, A plus. Says, Nick, we're launching a 7/7/21 with regularly weekly lessons, have 11 alphabet videos ready to go. Should we post all of them or maybe just 5 right away or one at a time? So what I would recommend to you is that you, if you have 11 ready to go, I would publish one and then the next day publish another one just so you can kind of link the two back and forth. And then after that, 2 or 3, days in a row. And then after that, then you have the videos that you can link together in the end screens and, you can put those together in a playlist and all of that. And then after that, then drop into your normal schedule. So get your first 2 or 3 videos out so that you can link them together so that people can watch one and then watch another. And then for the additional videos, then just, wait for those, to drop them into a regular schedule from that point. And it can be weekly, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever, it works out with your how fast you're making the content. But in terms of that initial phase of like publishing your first videos, just do, like 1 to 3, like one day, then another, or, one and then another, and then wait a couple days for the third and then drop into a new schedule. But the idea with that is you're simply just trying to make it so that people can jump from video to video when you're first getting started as well. So that's the approach that you want to take when you're first getting started. And if you haven't published any content yet, another thing that I would also keep in mind is those 11 videos that you have that are ready to go. So when you publish your content to YouTube, the thing that you got to make sure that you're keeping in mind is that people are going to respond to your content in a certain way. So even though you have 11 videos ready, made, and ready to go, you might find that the people that are responding to those initial videos that you publish, that there's some things that you might have done in the editing process just because you're just getting started that you might be repeating in those additional videos that you're going to publish. So because of that, I would pay really close attention to the people that do interact with that initial content, pay really close attention to how they're responding to it, and then look at the other videos that you have and think to yourself, think to yourself if they are going to be like if they're responding negatively to this, like let's say you have like a long intro in there, or let's say that you do some type of mistake in these first videos to where you notice people are dropping off. 1 second.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
There we go. But if you notice people are dropping off in that, in any areas, then I would not be so committed to having those already made that you would not go through and make adjustments to them. So just make sure that you're approaching it with an open mind. And when you do publish those first videos, depending on how people react to them, that you're using that feedback in your audience retention reports to see this is how people are responding. Is there anything that we need to edit on these other videos that we have put together before we publish these based on how these initial people are responding? Alrighty. Okay, so next up on our list, we got Shayna Jane taken care of. Next up, we've got Knights Treks. Says that they've been on YouTube for a year or more. They upload one time per week or more. And the type of channel says that they do theme park vloggers in Orlando, Florida. Question. Sorry, the goal. The goal is to create fun memories while also sharing our experiences at the theme parks so others who can't make it to the theme parks can experience it through us. Question, is there a certain time in the day that I'm supposed to be uploading, or just upload our videos at any time? So think about who it is that you're trying to reach and upload around the schedule that you think that those people might keep, and when those people would be most likely to watch on YouTube. Some of this information can be pulled from your demographic information on your channel, because you can see, are people watching more on a computer, they watching more on a mobile device, are they watching more on TVs? And then that can kind of help uncover, like, hey, this is how, this is how people are consuming it in terms of the device. So because of that, if it's on a TV, then in that case, you might want to think, okay, if it's on a TV and, we're trying to reach people there, then they could be watching them like in the evening, around family time, and the family gets together and watches your videos type of thing. If it's on a phone, then people can, those people are consuming it at any time that they want to. If it's on a computer with them, then, it's a little bit flexible there as well. But what you want to think about is just the people that you're trying to reach, like when would they most likely be online? If you're already publishing content, YouTube is already showing you a graph inside of your YouTube analytics, letting you know when your audience is online. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're looking at that information and publishing right around the time when people are coming online. And of course, you can always experiment as well. I know Professor Nez, I don't know if he's in here or not, but he mentioned on Twitter not too long ago, maybe, I don't know, time's flying right now, but it might have been like 6 months ago. But one of the things that he mentioned was that he published opposite of what YouTube told him. And that video did better than any of the other videos that he published like recently. So, because of that, just keep in mind that, some of that information that YouTube is showing you is based on, when you publish already. But it's also, relatively accurate in terms of, if you're reaching like an English speaking market in the US, because you're in Florida, then in that case, just keeping in mind time zones when people are going up, when they're waking up, when they're going to bed, those sorts of things too. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. So Virtual Fix Gaming says, I have a gaming channel. Any advice? So really quick, let me know in the comments, because I asked for gamers specifically, but let me know in the chat right now what type of content you make. So are you doing like crafting content? Are you doing commentary? Are you vlogging? Are you gaming? Like what type of content do you make? Let me know in the chat right now. So Virtual Fix Gaming, the advice that I have for you is one, even though your approach in terms of the content that you're making is different, because you are a gamer, even though the content is different than like, let's say a vlogger or the type of content that I make or somebody that makes music or like whatever, even though your content is different, the same exact rules still apply to you that apply to everyone else. So because of that, what you want to make sure that you're thinking about is don't look at it like, oh, I'm a gamer, so because of that, the rules that apply to all this other content don't apply to me, because they do. Because everything on YouTube is performance-based. So the basic bare bones fundamentals of getting people to click, getting people to enjoy the content, like you have to do that too, regardless of what type of content that you make. So when you are looking at it from the gaming perspective, what you want to think about is, one, I want to make sure that I'm making content around games that I know people are interested in. If I'm trying to, grow the channel, I want to make content around games that I know people are interested in. I want to stay on top of trends for that game. I want to be interacting in the communities around that game, not for the sake of like, hey, I just want to, pull some viewers over from time to time, but more so that you can just be more in tune with the people that are also into that game as well. Like you'll see, if you're involved in the communities, you'll see, the posts that people are making about the things that they're upset about, the things that they are having trouble uncovering in the game, the things that other people have found in the game that, people don't know about yet, that kind of stuff. And you can use all of that stuff, when you're making your content as well. So you want to make sure that you are just kind of embedding yourself in the communities so that you really, you're really involved with what's going on with the game. But then you also have to make sure that you're leaning on the performance side of things. So when you are putting your content out there, a couple things to consider. So a lot of gamers will just publish gaming content of them like playing the game and them kind of reacting while they're playing the game, and that's fine. But you also need to think about building some type of a discovery mechanism into what it is that you're doing as well. And what I mean by that is if you're doing like a let's play, and let's say it's like a 45-minute or like an hour-long let's play, then in that case, you have a huge commitment when people first start, when people, first see your video somewhere. So if they see the timestamp on the thumbnail itself, then you have that. But if they click into the video and they see it's like an hour long, then you're really asking for a commitment there. So because of that, when you first start that let's play, try to build something into it. Try to build a challenge of some kind. Try to, like, as soon as you go live with it or as soon as you start the video, tell people, hey, I'm trying to accomplish this thing, or we're trying to do this, or I'm trying to get through this in this amount of time, or with this particular handicap, or whatever it happens to be. But like, get the viewer involved with what it is that you're doing, so you give them a reason to want to stick around versus just like, hey, okay, I'm coming in and here's just another person playing a game, right? Like bring them on board, right? Like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing in this particular video. I'm trying to get from here to there in this amount of time with these things or whatever it happens to be. But that's what we're trying to do in this thing. So instead of it like, hey, just come and watch me play, it's actually, you're playing around a purpose in that situation, right? And you're giving the viewer a reason to want to hang out. Now, in addition to that, you also need doorways into your channel that are a little bit more short form content as well. So one thing that I would think about there is any type of help content that you can make around the game is going to be a doorway to where you're reaching people that are already interested in the game. They're proving it by clicking on your video and coming in and watching a video about the thing that you're talking about, but they're already interested in the game. Therefore, if you help them with something like, hey, this is how you beat this character, these are all the different things in this particular game, this is the location of all these different treasure chests, or this is the location of all these different guides along the path of the game, or, whatever it happens to be. But basically, making that type of help content is going to be more short form, and it's going to be easier to consume. It's going to be less of a commitment for the viewer, but you're using that as a way to target people that are interested in the game that you're playing. And then they come into your channel based on that content, and then they can then later be recommended some of your let's play content. And since they've already proved that they're into the game that you're playing through you helping them fix a problem in that game, then you are also being put in front of people that are already proven to be interested in that particular game. So you want to make sure that you are taking a more strategic approach to what it is that you're doing, instead of like, hey, I'm just going to fire up the PlayStation or fire up my computer and just play this game. Like, think it through and think, okay, this is what I'm trying to do in this game. This is what I'm trying to do in this particular, video that I'm putting together. These are the things that I'm going to be, showing in this video. And if you don't know, if you're like, hey, I'm just going to play it and just kind of see what happens, then in that case, record a part that you're going to put once it's all finished, then take notes like, hey, these are all the different things that I'm doing, or edit your video together and then make the part that's going to happen when the video first starts. So we're like, hey, in this game or in this video, I'm actually going to show you, the highlights of all the, cool stuff I did in this game, or, all these particular, challenges that I met or whatever. But, you want to present something to them that makes it more relevant, or not relevant, but more important to the people that are actually clicking on your game. So those are some things that you want to think about. In addition to that, you're a gamer. Since you're a gamer, you are constantly training yourself for pattern recognition. You're constantly training yourself on skills, in all the different games, and you're constantly like training yourself on all these different things, and you're keeping track of, your numbers and your stats for all the different stuff that you're doing in the game. I also encourage you, if you're a gamer, to look at YouTube kind of like it's a game. And instead of looking at your YouTube analytics and looking at it like, oh my gosh, there's all this stuff in here, look at it and be like, okay, this is kind of like the map of the game. And what I'm going to try to do inside of my YouTube analytics is I'm going to try to move these numbers in positive ways based on what it is that I'm doing in my content. And I'm going to use some of the pattern recognition skills that I'm developing in my gaming activities. I'm going to use some of them when I'm looking at my audience retention reports to start to uncover the things that people respond to and the things that they don't, the titles that they respond to and they don't, the topics they respond to and they don't, the thumbnails they respond to and they don't. But you want to start, using that skill set that you have, that you spend lots of time developing on YouTube. Right. And start looking at YouTube like it's a game, and look at your analytics like it's a game. Okay. The last video I got people to watch for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to do everything that I can to try to understand my audience and how they're interacting with my content, see if I can get them to watch for 6 minutes. Right. And you just keep playing that game until you can get them to watch for 6 minutes. Right. And then you just keep going and keep going and keep going until you can really keep people, engaged and involved with what it is that you are doing with your content. Pretty long answer, but hopefully that answered that. Hopefully that answered that question for you. Okay, so next up on our list we got Naraj Arts. Naraj Arts says I make game development videos, like show off some game devlog. Takes nearly 2 weeks to produce the content, sometimes even 3 weeks. Any advice will be helpful. So as you're putting the content together, if you're trying to put out more content, as you're putting the content together, what you want to think about is is there any additional content that I could make out of the stuff that I'm doing while I'm putting this longer, these videos together that have taken a longer period of time? If not, then you just have to commit to a schedule of like one to two times per month that you're going to be publishing. So if you are publishing 1 to 2 times per month, it's fine, as long as you're publishing content in a way that people respond to it. If you find that you're publishing and people start responding to it, then it's going to take you a little bit longer to get through that learning curve, just because you're not publishing as much, right? So like, for example, if like Handmade by Nang, if they are publishing like 3 videos per week or 4 videos per week, they're going to be able to get through that learning curve faster, as long as they're paying attention, because they're putting out more content, they're producing more content, they're using their camera more, or they're recording their screen more, they're playing the game more, whatever it happens to be, versus where they're uploading more, right? They're uploading more to YouTube, and they're going to be getting data back faster to where they can start being, taking actionable steps to do things better, to where if you're publishing less, then that process might just, stretch out a little bit longer. But you might, the content that you're putting out, though, it might be awesome and people might respond awesomely to it, when you start publishing. But the idea is to, if possible, if you can think of other content that you can make that is shorter form, or that doesn't take as long to make, to where you can have some supplemental content going out to your audience, then I would definitely do that. And then have these as kind of like your hero content, or not even your hero content, because it's not really that long, but like, just as your more important content, or the other content that you're wanting to share with your viewers, that you just publish every 2 to 3 weeks. Let's see here. As we keep on going down the list, is Tom Nash in here? What's up, Tom? Hope you're doing great, and I hope all of those other versions of Tom Nash are doing great too. Oh, Tom's having a problem right now with people impersonating him all over the internet. So my brother and I, quick little side story here. So my brother and I, we both got messages from like 3 different Tom Nash accounts on Twitter. And they started asking us like these questions, and we're like, this is stuff Tom should know. Like, we know Tom, like this is stuff that Tom should know. And I hit him up. I'm like, dude, is this, I don't think this is you. Is this you? And he's like, nah, man, I'm getting impersonated like crazy right now. So yeah, so hopefully this is Tom. This is the real Tom. Well, the real Tom Nash, please stand up. Please stand up. Okay, so let's see here. Ahmad. Superchat. Your Raheem and I Write and Design says, hey, I made a YouTube video with background music from Audio Blocks. Now I see a YouTube notification about a copyright claim. Where else do I take background music from? So you can dispute that claim. If you have a subscription with Audio Blocks, then you can just hit them up, and you'll be able to get that released. If you are wanting to use another service, then in that case, I always recommend Epidemic Sound, just because it's awesome. It's a resource that I use. Another really good one is Artlist. Both of them are pretty solid in terms of not having tons of issues. Audio Blocks, people actually run into problems with them from time to time. However, as long as you're as long as you have rights to that because you paid for it, then it's not a big deal. Like you can go through the process of having that claim removed. So I would shoot Audio Blocks an email, and then they'll be able to get you sorted on exactly the steps that you need to take to get that taken care of from their stuff. Thanks for the heads up, Doug. I will get that right now. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through this list, that's kind of like my segue thing that I say. So as we keep on going through this list, I'm going to refresh here because Doug said I missed a super chat. So I'm going to hop in here and grab this really quick, and then we're going to jump back into the forum, and then we're going to jump back into the chat. Why is this not loading anything? Hold on, let me refresh again. There we go. Okay, so let's see here. Poppin', Missouri. I went to Lake of the Ozarks once. I think that's in Missouri. Lake of the Ozarks. I think that was the name of it. Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks. I went there quite some time ago. Cool spot. Says, just hit at 300 subscribers. Thank you for all your great advice. High five and fist bump to you for 300 subscribers there, Poppin', Missouri. Love seeing that. Ben Brody says, I've been using TubeBuddy and getting ranked with SEO, but my viewers are still not going up. Do I need more time, or am I just doing something wrong? So Ben, and this is for Ben Brody. So Brody, Brody. So when you are showing up in search, or when you are just publishing content, if you're not getting a lot of views, then one, just be a little bit patient. But two, there's usually a reason for it. So you'll see on YouTube, like new channels will publish content and, they'll get lots of views because people will end up interacting with that content in a positive way. And it'll be, it'll be a great response from the people on YouTube. And then therefore YouTube will show it to more people because it's performing well. Which means when they show it to somebody, they respond positively to it, right? And if you are having your videos get ranked for SEO, but your views are not going up, one, you could be targeting, like you could be going like really long tail with what it is that you're doing. And you could be targeting something for your search term or for your keyword or your keyword phrase. You could be targeting something that people just don't search for a lot. And if that's the case, then, the overall interest for that isn't that high, which means that you're making content for something that, will just kind of trickle views over time. One approach to that can be really effective. So there's a guy, I think his name is Nathan, and he has a really interesting way to explain this concept, and it's effective, but it's just kind of, it can be like the slower road to do it. But like his perspective is like, if you look at a tree, right, you have all the branches coming off of a tree. So one of the approaches that he takes is he actually, tries to rank videos for all of these different, things that, not a lot of people are targeting. And by doing that, he ends up, kind of owning those terms, even though each video doesn't get crushed with views, like quickly. Over time, they end up accumulating a lot of views because he owns all of those spots for the things that people aren't necessarily going for. Downside of that is it's slow, right? It's a much slower approach. To where you can target something that is a lot more competitive. But if you're targeting something a lot more competitive, that means that your content also has to be a lot more competitive. And if you do make content that is more competitive, then you will have greater rewards from targeting that thing that's more competitive, right? So if you are, if you're getting your videos to show up in search, that's one thing, but you still have to be able to target something that at least enough people are looking for to be able to get traffic from there. But keep in mind, even though you're targeting search, like you can still get recommended traffic as well. But when it comes to search and recommended traffic, if you optimize your video perfectly, right, and you do all of the right stuff from a metadata perspective to where, your title's right, your description's right, the content's right in terms of the, subject matter and all of that, YouTube has identified your video about this topic and has decided that this would be, good in search. They're going to test it. They're going to try it there in search. What's going to happen then is people are going to look for whatever search term that YouTube has decided that you're going to show up for and that you've optimized for. And then when your video shows up there, based on how people respond to your video in search is going to determine if your video is going to continue to stay there or not. So if people don't respond to it in terms of they don't click on it, they click on some of the other options there way more than yours, then yours is just going to slowly fall down that list or maybe quickly fall down that list compared to if people are always clicking on yours and then they're watching yours, they're sharing them with friends, they're subscribing to your channel, coming back and watching more videos, all that good stuff. Then in that case, then your videos will end up, for most viewers staying in, the higher up spots in the search results. So, because of that, when you are putting your content together, I really want to encourage everybody, especially how many people here are using TubeBuddy already? Just say me. Because I want to make sure that I'm sharing something that's really important here. So if you're using TubeBuddy, just let me know because I have just something that I want you to know. So if you're a TubeBuddy user, just say me. And while you're doing that,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay, so we got some of those TubeBuddy users coming in. Okay, a lot of TubeBuddy users. Good. Okay, so when it comes to TubeBuddy, amazing tool, right? Amazing tool. It'll help you a ton with your YouTube channel. It helps you in terms of just optimizing everything. It also helps you just in terms of management of the channel, right? It's a great tool. However, a lot of content creators like live and die by the score that you get in your Keyword Explorer, okay? And that can be okay if you're using the Keyword Explorer properly, which a lot of people do not. I made an entire video about how to use the Keyword Explorer the right way. So if you go to YouTube search and you look for like TubeBuddy Nick Nimmin, then one of the videos that's going to show up in the search results there is going to be me going like this. And then there's going to be a bunch of view counts on there, right? Watch that video as soon as you get the chance if you're a TubeBuddy user. And the reason for that is because one of the things that people will do with TubeBuddy, and I'm saying this because of the question that we had here with Ben. One of the things that people will do with TubeBuddy is they will put like an entire title in the Keyword Explorer. And when you're putting an entire title in the Keyword Explorer, then by default, your scores are going to be higher because you're not going to have tons of competition for an entire title, right? The idea with a keyword explorer is it's a keyword explorer, not a title explorer. So you want to make sure that when you're using the keyword explorer that you are targeting keywords or keyword phrases, not entire titles, okay? So when you're using the keyword explorer within TubeBuddy, you want to make sure that you're just putting the keyword or keyword phrase that you're trying to target, not let's put this into a real life case. So let's say, for example, I was going to make a video. We'll just say about this editor's keys keyboard, right? About this. So if I was going to make a video about this editor's keys keyboard, then let's say that my title in that case was, this keyboard, no, because it wouldn't be for home. So let's say that the title for it would be, editor's keys keyboard review. Should you buy this or not? Right? That would be the title. So if you have like editor's keys keyboard review, if you uncover that people are actually looking for that, then in that particular case, then what you're going to do is you would target that and you would not add the should you buy this or not to the title. Because as soon as you add that should you buy this or not to the title or to the title that you're putting in the keyword explorer, you can put that in your title, but when you add that to the keyword explorer, then your results are going to start getting all messed up. So because of that, you got to make sure that you are Andrew Can in the house. What's up, my man? Always reminding me to hydrate. I love it. But you want to make sure that when you are using your the keyword explorer, that you are targeting the keyword or the keyword phrase, not dropping your entire title in there, right? So I just want to make sure that you know that if you're a TubeBuddy user, because tons of people are using it the wrong way. So like I uncovered this on Clubhouse. So I don't know how many of you are on Clubhouse. I don't get on there as much anymore, but when it first opened, I was on there all the time. And I was talking to tons of content creators on there, and I would always get questions about TubeBuddy. And through those conversations, I uncovered that a lot of people, they're putting entire titles in there. Like, hey, here's my title. Well, how, what's my score for this? And because they're putting the entire title in there, what's happening is they are distorting the results. And it's distorting it to where it looks like it's in their favor, but in reality, it's actually working against them, because then they're going after something where the data is just, not significant to what it is that they're actually trying to do. So, because of that, you want to make sure that one, you watch that video. Two, you just want to make sure that, that when you're using the tool, that you're using it the right way, so that you can make sure that, the numbers that it's kicking back to you are that it's being helpful. Andrew Can, you know what? I've got my water down there, but right now I'm rolling with coffee. All right. So let's see here. As we keep on going, hey, thanks for dropping that link, Roger. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Roger Wakefield just dropped the link to that video right here. So if any of you want to go watch that and then come back, feel free, because it's really important if you're a TubeBuddy user that you watch that video if you're using the Keyword Explorer, just because there are so many people using it the wrong way, and I just want to make sure that you're using it the right way. Okay, so as we keep on going through this list, Chantel says that she loves Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse too. It's just unfortunately because of the time zones. I'm because I usually stay up late here. So like I'll stay up late here, and then maybe some good conversations are getting started. So if I hop on then I'll end up staying up really late here. And then if I wake up when I first get on, then, usually because I wake up late. So because of that, then, the conversations have kind of winded down. So there is an Australian group, ironically here, there's an Australian group that is fantastic on there. However, with them, I'll typically catch them like when I'm coming back from like a hardware store or something. So then that way, I'll be listening to it in like the car, whatever it happens to be. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, one thing that I want to check really quick here, and one thing that I would just like to know really quick is if you're enjoying the live stream right now, just give me a yes in the comments. If you're like, whatever, then just give me any feedback that you have. If you're like, hey, I wish you'd answer more questions. If you're like, hey, you should just stop switching the camera angles, whatever. Any feedback that you have, I would love to have it. And keep in mind, you can also leave that feedback in the form as well. It's in the description below. It's a question form, but if you do have any feedback on anything that you think that I can do better to serve you as a content creator, definitely drop that in the form as well, because I do, even though during the stream, sometimes we'll get through a lot of them, but I typically don't get through all the ones in the form. So because of that, after the stream, I'll still go through and I'll read them just to see if there's anything that I should make a video about or anything like that. So if you do have any of those type of ideas or feedback, I'm more than open to it. So please, make sure that you drop it in that form or here in the chat. Okay, so let's see here. Next on the list here, let's see. I haven't gotten on Clubhouse. Yes, love it. Yes, we got a lot of good stuff here about Clubhouse. That's good. Okay, good. Okay, I'll require the Nick. Nice. Let's see here. Okay, cool. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through this list here, the next one that we have, I'm going to pull this one from the forum, and then after this one, I'm going to hop back into the chat. So if you have a question, don't drop it yet, but get a cue in front of your question, get it ready, because after this one, I'm going to ask you to drop your question, and then I will end up pulling it from there. So Joe's Pit Barbecue, what is up? Good morning. Welcome to the stream today. Ron Strains and Things says he can't get on Clubhouse. Hey man, I got a invite for you. If you want it, just shoot me a DM on Twitter and I'll shoot it over. Grow with Angie is next up on our list here. Grow with Angie says that they do gardening and homesteading. The goal of the channel, it's a hobby and now a business. Awesome. Love seeing that. So my channel is growing a good rate for subs. Views are good for a new channel. Watch hours are low. What can I do to get 4,000 hours in less than a year? I have an affiliate and I'm making money that way, but I want those watch hours too. I hear you. So, so the very first thing that you want to do if you're trying to increase your watch time that you're getting on your YouTube channel so that you can get into the partner program quickly is be strategic about the content that you're releasing. And here's what I mean. So when you publish a video, you're going to have people that are coming into that video, right? So when you're putting your content together, instead of thinking of your videos as one video, start thinking of your videos as sets of videos that you're going to be taking people through. So they don't have to necessarily be like, hey, this is video number 1 in this series of whatever. This is video number 2 in this series. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. You just have to think your way through it and think, okay, if I'm doing gardening and homesteading content, I'm going to make one set of videos for gardening. I'm going to make another set of videos for homesteading. And this is just step 1. You would rinse and repeat this over and over again. But the idea is to where, okay, I'm going to make this video about gardening and I'm going to put that into this gardening playlist. And then for whatever it is that I talked about in gardening here, the next video that I'm going to make is going to have some type of connection in terms of just topic to that first video that I published, so that it's a logical next step progression when they watch that first video, that this next video that I'm going to publish or a video that I published in the past is going to be, it would actually be a video that you published in the past, would be a video that I can refer them to. So then in that case, you're thinking of flowing or people flowing through your content versus I'm just trying to get people to watch one video, because every viewer that comes in, they're clicking on your video because it has something to do with something that they're interested in. So you're qualifying them there. And then if they actually come in and they enjoy the content, then of course you want to make it easy for them to find additional content on your channel that they enjoy. And one of the ways that you do that is by thinking, okay, somebody, and you can do this with old content you have on your channel as well, but the idea is when you're publishing content, just being intentional about it and being strategic about how people are going to jump from video to video. And you don't just, to keep in mind as well, you don't have to think, okay, now my next 5 videos have to be gardening videos, and then my next 5 after that have to be homesteading. You don't have to take that approach either. You just have to think, okay, over the next, like 30 to 90 days, these are the videos I'm going to be publishing, and this is how these are going to be linked together. So a way that I do that is I actually have a thing that I made for my iPad, but you can just sketch this out on a piece of paper if you want, to where you say, okay, these are the videos that I'm going to be making, right? Here's the list. And then, I'm going to write those videos down again, but then so I have one list of those videos, another list of those videos, and then I'm going to draw arrows like, okay, this one's going to link to here. This one's going to link to here. This one's going to link to here, so that you can start to draw a path of where it is that you're going to hopefully take the experience that you're going to hopefully take your viewers through. And you take viewers through that experience by, 1, getting them to click, enjoy the content that they're currently watching so that they want to watch more. That's step 1. But if you're already getting that, then in that case, what you want to think about is, okay, when I'm coming to the end of this video, if somebody's watching my video and they come to the end of this video, what I need to think about is when you're making the content, you want to look at that list that you put together and you want to think about anything that you can refer to next, right? So if you have a video that you published before this one, or even 10 videos ago that you think would be a great fit for someone to watch next after they watch the video that they're currently watching, then what you want to do is at the end of your video, you want to verbally recommend that they go watch that video, sell it a little bit. Like one of the things that you'll see when you watch my content is like when you get to the end of the video, I'll say something along the lines of, let me just pull one off the top of my head here. So it would be like, let's say you're watching a video on getting views. Then I might say something at the end of the video, like, so you're probably watching, you watch this video because you're interested in getting views. I actually have a whole playlist of tools that can also help you, get better results on YouTube or whatever the thing would be. And I'll put a link to that. Right here. So you can go ahead and click in to this playlist right here, click into that video right here, whatever it is for that particular video. And the idea with that is that you're kind of selling it based on the thing that the viewers are coming into your video for. So it's like, hey, I just taught you, how to get your dirt ready to plant your seeds or whatever. So the next thing that you're going to do, obviously, after you have your dirt ready, is you're going to need to plant those seeds. So, this video, I recommend that you click into this video right here. It's going to take you step by step through all the different things you got to keep in mind while you're actually planting the seeds, how to take care of the seeds and that sort of thing. Go ahead and click into that now, right? But when you're drawing out that map of where you're going to be sending your viewers to, you want to keep those types of things in mind. So when you are putting the content together, you're also kind of selling that next step that they're going to take. And you want to link that video and or playlist in your end screen, as well as a best for viewer. So then that way you're doing your best to get that viewer based on how you understand your audience. And then you're also leveraging YouTube and how they understand your audience even better. You're leveraging, your recommendation plus YouTube's recommendation. And then you want to link that in your end screen, but then you also want to have a pinned comment that's doing the same exact thing. Reset a little bit for the people that are going down and leaving comments, because those people are more engaged in what it is that you're doing. So when they go down to leave a comment, at the very top of your comment section, you also have a pinned comment going to that next video as well. So you want to make sure that you're doing those things. In addition to that, on YouTube, they also have something called a playlist, and they also have things called series playlists. So you want to make sure when you're trying to get that watch time, right? How many people here are trying to get, 1,000 hours or 4,000 hours of watch time right now? If you are, just say me, if you're trying to get that 4,000 hours of watch time. And what you want to do basically is when you're trying to get that 4,000 hours of watch time, is you want to use these tools that YouTube gives us. So when you are sending people to a video in your end screen, you actually want to send them to a playlist, especially when you're first getting started, so that you can have additional videos in there that they're also likely to be interested in based on the video that they're watching. And with those additional videos in there, then you start creating kind of like a lean back experience for them. So then they go in there, they hit that playlist, and then the other videos that are getting recommended right next to the player, if they're on a computer, those are your videos, right? They're not getting distracted by other stuff that YouTube is recommending, because the thing that they're seeing, in their face is your content. Same exact thing on a mobile, they'll see it underneath it. So because of that, it gives you the opportunity to pull people into more of your content in an easier way. So you want to make sure for this that you're using the playlist to drive them into. You can also make series playlists, to where you make short playlists and you mark those as series. The difference between the two, let me back up a little bit. The difference between a playlist and a series playlist, for those of you that are just getting started, is a playlist can have any video on it from any YouTube channel. They can be, same topics, different topics, whatever. You can just curate whatever videos that you want. And anything can go into a playlist, and it can be on as many playlists on YouTube as it needs to be. A series playlist, though, it's a completely different thing. With the series playlist, you can only put videos from your channel, and each video on YouTube can only be inside of one series playlist. Okay. So it's more limiting, but it's more powerful. And this is why. So when you mark a video as a series playlist, or you mark a playlist as a series playlist, what you're doing is you're telling YouTube that the videos within that playlist are directly related to each other in some way. Because of that, and because you've told YouTube that, one of the things that YouTube tells us is that within that series playlist, hold on, I think Popcorn's in here. Hold on. Okay, he's not. But within that series playlist, you are telling YouTube that they're related to each other. So one of the things that YouTube tells us is that when people are watching videos that are in a series playlist, that they're more likely to show other videos that are in that series playlist next to the video that they're watching. So what you're doing in that situation then is you're driving people into the content that would be the logical next step. And you're trying to create that relationship between the videos because they also suggest videos next to each other that people typically watch together. So you're trying to make that happen. Plus you're driving them into the playlist where you're also trying to leverage their recommendations to also put more of your content next to that user as well, based on, you know, the things that they're interested in related to your content, right? So what you want to do ultimately to kind of unpack all of this is you want to make it easy for people to find more of your content. And you just want to be strategic about the content that you're publishing, when you're publishing it, and how you're sending people from video to video on your channel. Because if you can start creating that to where people hop from this video to this video to this video to this video, then another thing that can happen once you start doing that at scale as your channel grows, then one of the things that you can happen, or that you can have happen there, is that when a lot of people are watching video A and then they move to video B, then let's say normally YouTube would recommend it down here and they recommend something else in the next up spot. If you start having that happen at scale, then YouTube is going to move that next video up into the next up spot. So then you just start being in that next up spot as well. So then YouTube also starts working in your favor to start recommending more of your content to the people that are enjoying it, just based on you putting that flow together and being intentional about where viewers should go next. Is popcorn microwavable? Technically, yeah. Technically, popcorn is microwavable. I would not want to microwave popcorn though. But yeah, popcorn is definitely microwavable. Yeah, so popcorn is popcorn's my dog. Danielle, Tube Spanner in the house. What is up? Says, thank you for everything you do. Get some kibbles for popcorn. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, so we're still working on Tube Spanner. So with Tube Spanner, what this is this is a tool that's going to help you guys massively with your workflow. We have so much cool stuff put into this. Like it's taken a little bit of time. That's why I keep talking about it. But it's taken time just because it's awesome. So like once we open it up to the public, so to speak, you're really going to love some of the stuff that we're doing in there. Okay, so next up on our list, we have popcorn microwavable. I'm going to show this to my girlfriend. She's not going to be happy with that comment. Maven girl, glad that you are enjoying the content. My pleasure sharing. Let's see here. I don't know anyone that has a channel, so I can't get help. And tech is difficult for me. So here's the thing: is the internet, right? Like if you can't get help, then you know, of course, Google is a great solution. YouTube's a great solution. You know, using the search bar. In addition to that, if you're a channel member, you know, asking the group, you know, questions if you're trying to get tech help. But keep in mind, you know, like when it comes to tech, a lot of it really just comes down to fiddling with it, right? Just like messing with the camera and being like, you know, hey, or messing with your camera, messing with your audio, just spending all the time sitting there like, how can I make this better? How can I make the lighting better? How can I make the audio sound good? How can I position things better so everything looks better? You know, like it really comes down to just spending that time, like, you know, just making sure that you get everything together. Oh, that's weird. As I'm talking about tech, like my stuff in the background's failing. But anyway, like when you are, you know, having those problems with tech, you know, just hopping in Google and, you know, just being self-reliant, like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to find, there we go. I'm just being like, hey, self-reliant, I'm going to go find the information that I need in order to be able to solve this problem. That's the best approach to take, because then you don't have to wait around for anything. You don't have to wait for people to get back to you, anything like that. I know for me, when I'm having tech problems, of course, I'll have, you know, like friends that I'll reach out to if it's something that I can't figure out. But because I know everybody's time is valuable, everybody on the planet, all of our time is valuable. So because of that, you know, like if I have an issue that I'm trying to uncover, first, I'll just hop on Google, I'll hop on YouTube, and I'll try to find, you know, the answer to whatever it is that I'm looking for. And then if I can't uncover it, and if I can't uncover it through, you know, experimentation and trying to figure it out, then I will, then I'll reach out. Let's see here. YouTube University is super helpful for finding out about tech. The YouTube Creator Academy, you mean? I hope that's what you mean. Let's see here. It can get so demoralizing when I see no growth in subscribers. This is a really, really popular vibe when it comes to YouTube. And a lot of people go through this. And I want to let you know, bestsellers video, that you're not alone in this. You know, when you put work into anything and then you don't see the results as fast as you would like to see the results, it can be discouraging. It can be, you know, demoralizing. It can be like where you start having all these thoughts in your mind of like, why am I doing this? Am I wasting my time? Is this ever going to work out? You know, all of those types of things. But, you know, I want to let you know that when you are having those types of issues, the best thing that you can do is not look at your subscriber growth, because you're not growing subscribers. And I'm just going to unpack this a little bit for you. So the reason that you're not getting subscribers and that your channel's not growing is because you're still in that skill set development part of getting things to a point to where you can put out content that's competitive on the platform. And that part of it is something that you're going to have to put work into, you're going to have to put time into, and you're going to have to just kind of work through it so that you can, learn how to do all of the things that are going to help you get more subscribers ultimately. Like, one of the things that cause so many YouTubers to fail is they focus on the wrong thing. So many YouTubers focus on, oh my gosh, my subscribers aren't growing as fast as I want. I'm not getting the views as fast as I want. And they turn it on YouTube in a lot of the cases where it's like, hey, YouTube isn't giving me the views that I want. But what you really have to do when it comes to YouTube, just like with anything else in life, like, you have to own it, and you have to be like, okay, if my channel's not growing right now, it's not because of YouTube. There's plenty of cases of new channels that start and their videos just, they just start making content and it starts taking off because they come into it with experience, maybe an understanding, maybe they had help, who knows, but they, start putting out content and people start positively responding to that content and the channels do well. So what you have to think about is, it's not YouTube. You have to turn the lens back at you, and you have to own the fact that if you're not getting the results that you're after yet, it means that there's still more that you have to learn, more that you have to apply to what it is that you're doing in order to end up getting those results that you're after. So, when you're getting demoralized and you're getting discouraged, I just want to know that, a lot of content creators go through that. Even successful content creators, like, even once you start getting results on YouTube, there's ups and downs with that too. And there's all these other elements that come into play as well. And even though your subscriber count might be growing, there can be other issues. There's some content creators that don't set things up properly from the start, and they'll grow huge YouTube channels, but then they don't have monetization in place to where maybe they're making some money off of ads, but the other things that they should be doing to make money, like make real money, like those things just aren't working out for them because they didn't put them into place. And therefore the thing that they're running into is like, great, now I can't leave my house without people recognizing me, but I'm not making that much money from what it is that I'm doing. So then they have those issues. So because of that, it doesn't matter where you're at in the journey, there's always problems that you're going to have to solve. So the best thing that you can do right now when you're just getting started and you're getting demoralized by all this is, one, just embrace the learning curve. And instead of looking at it like my subscribers aren't growing, look at it like, hey, it's not a big deal. My subscribers aren't growing right now because I'm not really, putting out something that is causing them to want to subscribe. So because of that, I need to work on getting my videos better, making better content, coming up with better video ideas, optimizing my videos better, making better thumbnails, making better titles, and just making sure that you're focusing on that. Because I promise you this, if you focus on skill development and you focus on getting better at making videos, and you focus on getting better at making thumbnails and titles, and you focus on those things and coming up with good ideas, if you focus on those 4 things and you focus on those above everything else, and you're just like, I'm just trying to make these better, you're using the information that YouTube gives you in your analytics to apply to the new decisions that you're making on your new content, then I promise you, if you focus on that in the future, based on, how much you're focused on it in the future, it could happen fast or it could happen slowly. But in the future, I guarantee you'll end up getting the subscribers that you're after, because you'll be focused on the right things that actually cause people to subscribe, which is good content. And in order to get to the good content, they have to click on it because it's a good topic that's relevant to them or something that they're interested in. And then you've been able to get them to click on it because you had a good thumbnail that resonated with them and a good title or whatever it happened to be that caused them to click. And then once they clicked, you delivered on what it was that they were expecting from the outside. And that will cause people to subscribe, right? So instead of getting caught up in that the channel's not growing in terms of subscribers, focus everything right now. Focus all of your energy on learning how to make thumbnails, learning how to do titles so you can get people to click, coming up with good topics, and then, of course, making content that people also respond to positively. And by that, what I mean is you want to just get people to watch for as long as possible. And of course, share it, watch additional content and things like that. But first, in order to get them to share it, in order to get them to watch more content, you got to get them through that first video first, right? So, if you're demoralized right now, if you're like, man, this is just rough, just keep in mind, it's important to embrace the learning curve, because if you do that, then all of the stuff that you want as a YouTube content creator will happen after that. If you focus your energy on embracing the learning curve and learning how to make the content better. Hey, thanks for the heads up on the on that rock climbing grandma. I will go and check that out right here in a second. Let's see here. Mr. Super Chat from A Plus Russian. What's the best social media strategy for a new channel? So for a new YouTube channel, let me refresh this here really quick. So for a new YouTube channel, your best social media strategy is if you have a following already that is a good fit for the content that you're making, and only if they're a good fit for the content that you're making, then in that case, of course, share your videos wherever it is that you can. That is a good fit for your content. So if you have a Twitter account, then when you publish a video, share that video over to Twitter so that the people that are following you on Twitter know that you published a piece of content, because it might not show up on their homepage, but if you share it out on Twitter, then some of the people that follow you there will be able to see that you published as well. So then you can pull them into your channel, pull them back into that video to, give YouTube the information that they need from those people to maybe help them find additional people. In addition to that, you also want to think about if there's any place on the internet that is a laser targeted great fit for you to also share your content. And I don't mean going to Reddit and Facebook and all that and just spamming all over the place. What I mean is, if you find a Facebook group, if you find a subreddit or a forum online or whatever it happens to be, to where the people there are a perfect fit for the content that you're making, and it's also okay in terms of the moderators, it's not a problem for you to share content that adds value to the community from time to time, not every video that you publish, but from time to time, then I would also take advantage of that as well. But ultimately, when it comes to like really supercharging your YouTube channel, so to speak, the thing that's going to move the needle for you more than anything else is learning how to get that attention on platform. Now, of course, like Reddit can send you tons of views as well, tons of traffic. A lot of people have leveraged that. But at the end of the day, for long-term sustainability in your YouTube channel, if you can get YouTube to work on your behalf because you're giving them what they want in terms of performing content, then you're going to do great. But you just have to go through that process of learning all this stuff to get people to respond positively to your content. Let's see here. D does have his own channel. Absolutely. Leopold L says, where is D? What happened? He's in Mexico right now. So he got locked out of this country, because of the thing that's going on in the world. He's locked out of here, and he will be coming back once he is able to, once he's able to come back. Hopefully it'll be soon. I miss hanging out with him, Rock Climbing Grandma says, minutes or percentage viewed? Both. So percentage viewed is, okay, if you have, let's say if you have a 10-minute video and people watch 80% of that video, then in that case, it's like, hey, this is a pretty good video. People watched 80% of it, right? And then, within that, you've collected, your 8 minutes of watch time. And, within that 8 minutes of total watch time, that's also fantastic, right? Now, if they've watched 80% of that video, in terms of on average, that means that your complete rate is also going to be, relatively high. So since your complete rate on that is also relatively high, then you're winning there in terms of, just overall performance of that video. Now, if you have a 20-minute video and people watch for 4 minutes, then in that particular case, then it's not going to be, that fantastic, because the overall quality experience isn't that great because you're only able to keep them for 4 minutes out of a 20-minute video, right? So because of that, you want to kind of balance the two between the total watch time and the average percentage viewed. Everything matters when it comes to YouTube, right? So it's not like an either or situation. It is I have both of these, both of them matter. So because of that, I need to get my total watch time up as high as possible. I also need to get my percentage viewed up as high as possible. And the way that you use that information is, if you're making 10-minute videos, but you can only get people to watch for 2 minutes, maybe you should start making 5-minute videos. If you are making 20-minute videos, you can get people to watch for 10 minutes. Maybe you should start shaving them down to like 12-minute videos, right? So that's how you can use that information. But at the end of the day, you want to try to get as high of a percentage viewed as possible, and of course, as much total watch time as possible. And then you also factor in your click-through rate with that as well, because one of the things that YouTube is also trying to do, in addition to giving their viewers a quality experience, is they're trying to generate as much watch time per impression for every time they show your video to somebody. So because of that, you also want to make sure that you're considering your click-through rate as well, because if you have a really high click-through rate, but they're not getting through as much of your video, that really high click-through rate can also offset some of that watch time that you're getting and cause you to get more watch time per impression as well. So, so because of that, if you're getting people to click more, then you can also, in some cases, even if your video doesn't have awesome audience retention on it, but it's like good enough, then your click-through rate can carry you in some cases as well. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, he went on vacation, couldn't get back home. I actually came in a day before. Like I was literally like, it was like the day, and then the next day they ended up locking everything down. So yeah, I came in by the skin of my teeth. So what does spamming mean? Spamming means when you are going all over the internet and you are dropping your videos in places that they are not, where people aren't asking for it, they're not expecting it, they're not wanting it, and you're not really adding value to the community in any way, shape, or form, but you're just sharing your videos all over the place. So, one thing that you'll see is like on Reddit, for example. I had to ban somebody, like not only did I have to ban them, but I had to ban somebody and I had to send them messages on multiple social media outlets privately to get them to stop spamming our subreddit. So we have a subreddit called YouTubers. It's not that active, but it's there's about 2,000 people over there, and when questions get posted, people will answer them and stuff like that. But there's also people that will spam that group as well. And I had somebody that is a new YouTube help channel. And the way that they're trying to get attention is they're just going to Reddit, and they're going to all the YouTube subreddits, and they're just spamming their content everywhere, which shows that they don't really know what it is that they're doing right now. So I don't mean that they don't know what they're doing like at all, but I mean in terms of like the spam thing, like that, like the way their approach is completely just wrong when it comes to that. But that person, I had to send them messages privately while I banned them because I didn't want to do it publicly. But I had to send them messages saying like, hey, you need to stop doing this, because the way that you can see it on Reddit is on Reddit, you can actually go and look at a post history. So as a moderator on Reddit, like if somebody goes and they leave a post, then you can just right click their username and you can see their post history. So then you go into their post history and you see the same exact video on like 15 different subreddits. That's a spammer. So that's the difference, right? They're sharing your content where where it's invited and to where you're adding value. And then there's the other side of it to where you're sharing your content to where it doesn't add value. You're just trying to just put it in as many places as possible to get views. So ultimately what you want is you do not want to spam, because nobody enjoys spam. Nobody appreciates it. No platform supports it. Spam is definitely a no. Let's see here. Quibus. Absolutely. You just did. That would have been a great place to actually ask the question, but I'm actually going to give you a chance here and say, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it now. Okay, here we go. It says, so my YouTube name is the same as another content creator. I don't know. Okay, no problem there. So what you just want to do is you just want to go change your channel name. If they're an established creator, then just go ahead and change your channel name and try to come up with something more unique. It's totally okay to change your channel name. No problem at all there. So I recommend that you change your channel name, try to come up with something unique, and check YouTube first before you use the name. You don't have to necessarily look for like the name on YouTube, but just look for the URL. So go to like youtube.com/Quibus and see if somebody has that. If they don't, then you're still fine. And if you get 100 subscribers before the other people with that same channel name, then you can actually secure that name. So that's the approach that I would take with that. If questions are allowed, should I delete old videos that I've made before knowing how to edit? If people are responding to that content, this is a funny thing. So I had a conversation with someone. It was a VidCharge customer the other day, and one of the things that they asked was the same exact thing. They're like, I have a bunch of videos on my channel that they're just kind of like just crap videos. Like they just weren't happy with them. Lighting's bad and all that. They're like, should I delete them? And I told him, I was like, no. I was like, just leave them on your channel if they perform. Right? If you have views coming in and people are enjoying them, like, just leave them there, because they're a way to get people, into your content. Just leave them there, because without those videos, then you're missing the opportunity to reach those people that YouTube is showing that content to. So even though we, as the content creator, have a bunch of videos on our channel to where we're like, yeah, you know what, I probably should remove those. Like, if people are coming in and watching them and those people are still a good fit for the new content that you're publishing, leave them on there. Because even though it doesn't, like, we know that our videos are better now, like, just leave them on there. Like, if people are coming in and people are enjoying the content, to the viewer, it doesn't matter. So as long as it doesn't matter to the viewer, then don't let it matter. Don't let it matter to you either, as long as they're bringing people in. However, if you're not getting any views, the quality is bad, like everything about the video is bad, people aren't clicking on them, people aren't watching them, all that, yeah, then in that case, it doesn't matter. You can go ahead and delete them. Oh, let's see here. As we keep on going through our list here. Urban Explorer Neil, what's up, my man? I was talking about you earlier. Says, let's see here. I was told the other day by a large channel that my name brings up UberX content and I should change my name. I have zero interest in wanting to do this. Your thoughts? So if somebody looks for your name and UberX content comes up, Yeah, I wouldn't care about that. Like, ultimately, like, people are going to be coming into your channel from your videos anyway. And if people are, I'm actually going to look right now, actually, but as people are coming into your channel, they're going to be coming in from the video content anyway. Like, some people are going to be coming in from search, but a majority are going to be coming in from the video content anyway. And the people that are actually going to be looking for you already know your content, and they're going to already know, hey, this particular thing here isn't, the thing that I want. But I'm not seeing UberX content. What I'm seeing is like explore this underground laboratory or this massive laboratory, urban explorers who went missing. Like, I'm seeing like that kind of stuff more than I'm seeing anything else. And then I see yours. Down here, I see we build our dream camper van to travel the world in. So you're in the same search results there. So you're fine, man. I would just keep things as you have them. I think your name is cool. I would keep the name. If your channel was mine, I would keep it, and I would just roll with that. I would just make sure that if you don't already, hopefully you have the actual URL for it. Let's see here. So I'm going to hop into the forum for this one because we haven't been in the forum for a bit. So I'm going to hop in here. And for this one, this is from Kaludo. They say they do gaming montages. The goal of the channel is I want to make videos for a lot of people, and I want to make a long-term career out of YouTube. Just as a heads up for anybody who here wants to make a long-term career out of YouTube, or who just wants to, do it full time, or who just wants to earn a little bit of side money from YouTube. If that's you, just give me a me or a yes, either one. Okay. So for those of you that want to earn income from YouTube, it's really important. A Plus Russian says 8:30 there. It is 10:28 p.m. here. So for all of you that want to earn money from what it is that you're doing, it's really important that if you're just getting started right now, it's really important that you go ahead and start thinking about your monetization options and start implementing anything that you currently can. And the reason that it's important to do now is because you are going to, and I mentioned this from time to time on live streams, but I'm saying this just for the new folks that might be in here, is when you have a YouTube channel, you're publishing content right now. Even if you just started today, you're publishing content right now that is going to remain on your YouTube channel for a very long time. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to have some videos that you're publishing now that'll end up doing better later. You'll have some videos that are in your channel now to where people will end up watching your content a year from now, and then they'll end up going into your channel and then finding some of that older content, or YouTube will start recommending some of that older content because they'll start identifying who the right audience is and all of that. So they'll start recommending some of that older content to some of the people that are interacting with some of the new content and that sort of thing. So because of that, you want to start building in some monetization into what it is that you're doing now, so that as your channel grows, your income can grow along with it, right? Because if you don't do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to be grinding, getting all these, trying to get this 1,000 hours of subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in order to get there, and then realize, okay, well, right now, the only way that I'm making money for my YouTube channel is through ads. And since I'm just getting started, maybe I'm still going through a lot of the learning curve. I'm not making a lot of money from ads yet, which means that I'm not going to be able to go full time for quite some time unless I can get my views up to be something substantial. And depending on where you live in the world, full time looks completely different from different places in the world, right? In terms of the income that you're going to need. So for example, if you're in Ohio, what you're going to need is going to be completely different than if you're living in like San Francisco, right? So in terms of income from your YouTube channel. So you just got to make sure that, one, you put together exactly how much you need or how much you want to earn from your YouTube channel, so you can just set that target. But in addition to that, you also want to think to yourself, okay, with this video that I'm going to be publishing this coming week, or the week after, if you've already got it made, then with that particular video, what is it that I can do in that video for alternate monetization? So one of the things that you can do if you're trying to earn income from what it is that you're doing is, one, if you want to put out a little bit of money and you want to go through another learning curve, you can start collecting email addresses, offer some type of like newsletter or something like that for your community. You can do that as an option, but that's a little bit, difficult. But another thing that you can do that's really easy is you can also start introducing merch into what it is that you're doing, where you're doing coffee cups and shirts and stuff like that. But as a new content creator, instead of just building everything around your logos, try to think, okay, the people I'm trying to reach, what types of things do they find funny? What types of things, like in terms of like being an insider in the gardening world or the crafting world or whatever, what types of things, are just kind of like, clever or funny for that audience, and make your merch around that. Don't just make it all about your logos, because you want it to be more interesting to more people so that more people will buy it, so that you can start making more money from it, right? So you can have that as one stream of income. In addition to that, I also encourage you have to make sure that you put disclaimers where needed and things like that. And I've got videos about this, but one of the things that you can also do is you can also earn income as an affiliate. So if you're just getting started, all of your videos should either have merch in them. They should have an email address where people can sign up for something, where you'd send them like your website. Again, like I said, that's a much larger learning curve. But for the merch thing, you can do all that for free. You can use Spreadshop for that, and you can set up everything for free. The only thing that you have to do is either design something that you can upload, or hop on Fiverr and for like $5 have somebody make a t-shirt design for you. And then you can put that same t-shirt design on hoodies, t-shirts, coffee cups, pillows, aprons, like anything that you want to put it on, stickers, the whole nine. But you want to do that. There's also Patreon and other crowdfunding things like Patreon. You have Buy Me a Coffee. You have Ko-Fi, just to name a few. And with those, basically what you do is you will produce additional content or an additional access to you for a small fee. And that fee through them is either one-off in terms of like Buy Me a Coffee, to where it's like, hey, I can just buy you a coffee. Or you can also set it up to where it's a recurring thing. The win with the recurring is that, let's say that you do it through Patreon. If you don't have like channel memberships yet, you'll say you do it through Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee or Ko-Fi, and you set up the recurring side. Then what happens there is some of your viewers, and it'll just slowly trickle, right? When you're first getting started, it's just going to be like one person, then two people, then three people. And the gap between each of them might be large. But then as you start getting more and more views, the gap between people signing up for those things will get less and less. But what you want to think about is, what can I offer through these other services for monetization in exchange for some type of, a fee from the viewers that are watching my content? So then what you do in that situation is, if you start doing these things with all the different videos that you're putting out, then you have, videos that are driving merch sales. You have videos that are driving affiliate sales. You have videos that are driving, awareness about your Patreon or whatever type of crowdfunding that you're doing. You have your YouTube ad revenue once you get monetized. And those are just a few things, right, to get started. But the idea is that you want to just start implementing some of these things now, so that, let's say the video that you publish this coming week, let's say the next video that you publish ends up getting like hundreds of thousands of views on it, and you didn't implement any monetization stuff except for ads. You'll make some money, from ads from it. But, if you had some other things also available at that time of publishing that video, and you're spreading some awareness about that, at least through your video description or a pinned comment or a card or an end screen or something, then in that case, then you could have been getting, additional income from that video on top of the AdSense money that you're getting as well, right? So if you're trying to go full-time on YouTube, it's really important that you are thinking of monetization now. Even if you started your channel today, that you're thinking, okay, what can I start doing to, start generating some income from my YouTube channel outside of ads, even before I'm monetized, so that as my YouTube channel grows, my income grows as well. Wanted Mobile Gaming, what's up? Welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing awesome. Professor Nez in the house, calling everybody here beautiful, which you are. Says from the West Coast. Sorry I'm later, Nick. Hey, it's all good, man. Nice to see you in here. I think I mentioned you earlier. I think, and you can clarify this for me, but what the thing that I mentioned earlier, we were talking about the publishing time. And I know that you made a tweet about you published on the opposite time and your video ended up performing better. That was the thing that I talked about earlier. So if you just like in the chat, if you just want to mention like, the idea there, just let people know kind of what was going on there, that would be super appreciated. What site can help make simple board game merch? Spreadshop can do that. So with Spreadshop, basically you can set up your merch store there. You put a link to that in your description before you have the merch shelf, no big deal. So you have a link to your description there, or in your description there, you let people know in your video, hey, I've got, links to this down in the description below. And then they can go down there and they can click to go to your merch store. If you want to level that up a little bit, then you can build a redirect into it. So you can get, and this comes with a learning curve as well, but like 5 minutes on Google, you can figure it out. But basically you go to GoDaddy or Namecheap or Direct Nick or whoever it is that you get your names through, or whoever you would want to get your name through. And you get like a, like in your case, it's A+ Russian. So you would do like aplusrussian.com. And then you could do aplusrussian.com/merch. and then you can make that to where it redirects to like a merch store on Spreadshop. And then that way you can just let people know in the video, hey, just go to, aplusrussian.com/merch. And then that will take you straight to my merch store. And then on your shop there inside of Spreadshirt, then there you can have, all of your different merch designs and all that. But in terms of the merch store, it's all free to put together. And then you make money anytime somebody buys it. But to make the actual stuff that you put on the merch, for that, just go to fiverr.com. You can go to fiverr.com. There's also some subreddits around design. I think if you're on Reddit, Design Jobs is one of the subreddits for that. If you are not on Reddit, then don't even worry about it. But if you are on Reddit, there's one called Design Jobs. There's another one called like Slave Labor, I think, which is a funny name, but that's like people that are working for, fairly cheap. But you can also, put your stuff there as well. Okay, so next up on the list here, we have, go for it, Robust R's. I'm going to have to see it again in the chat, so I might miss it. But yeah, if you got a question, go ahead, drop it. So let's hear. Flora says, thank you so much for your insight and advice. This really makes sense. My pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content. So he says that he posted the opposite time as analytics says as an audience is on mostly and the video did well, which to me only clarifies that posting time is not as important as quality of content. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that, man. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list, see, I use that little segue again. We're going to hop into the forum for this one, and then we will hop back into the chat after that. And in the meantime,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So let's see here. Next up, we've got SL30 Aquatics. SL30 Aquatics says that they have been on YouTube for less than a year. They do fish keeping and aquatics content. The goal of the channel is to help new fish keepers learn the basics with how-to videos, low-end equipment reviews, and expand their hobby without the need for a dedicated fish room. A dedicated fish room. Wow. Like if you have a dedicated, I'm not saying that you do, I'm saying like for anybody that has a dedicated fish room, like that's pretty awesome. Like one, you're really into fish. Two, I bet it feels awesome just like hanging out in that room, like with the lights off, but then you have like the lights of all the, fish tanks and all that stuff on. I bet that's a really cool vibe. But let's see here. So the question is, hey, Nick, great stream as always. Do I convert shorts viewers into long-term form viewers and subscribers? Fish behavior makes for good shorts content, but I'm struggling to convert those views into my longer videos. So this is a really common thing when it comes to shorts. So when you're publishing your shorts content, one thing that you got to keep in mind is that, you're pulling people from the short shelf, and those people might not be as interested in the longer form content. And if you're highlighting the fish, then that can just go to a broad audience. Like anybody that just likes anything interesting can respond positively to that shorts content. Whereas if you're doing how-to content as the long form content, somebody watching the behavior of fish, they could be a totally different type of viewer, or just they might not even be interested in having, they might not even care about fish, is what I'm getting at. They might just see the short and be like, oh yeah, this is pretty interesting. I'm going to watch this fish kind of do its thing, but they could care less about, actually having a fish or, doing all the stuff involved with, fish tanks and all that. So just make sure that when you're putting out shorts content, if you're trying to get them to also respond to your longer form content, make sure that the audience that you are or the content that you're targeting that audience with is also something that they would respond to the long form content as well. So an example of that would be, instead of just showing the behavior of the fish, maybe you just give a quick tip, in that shorts content. Hey, if you got a fish tank, right? Start the video or start the short. Hey, if you got a fish tank, I'm going to share with you 3 things that are going to, give your fish a happier, healthy life. The first is blah. The second's blah. The third is blah. Right. And so you just go through that really quick. And then of course you have your subscribe thing on there. And then the people that are enjoying that content are going to be a higher candidate or a more likely candidate for your long form content as well. So any subscribers you get from that, because you're actually calling them out right when the short starts. Hey, if you have a fish tank right there, you're targeting that, the people that would be interested in the longer form content. So call them out right there and then go through the quick content. And then the people that subscribe from that will be a higher likely candidate to enjoy the longer form stuff too. Let's see here. Flora, thank you for that super chat as well. Super appreciated. Thank you for the support there. Motivation Theory Running says unlisted 400 old on-channel topic videos. Advice from Daniel Batal. Now all videos are niche. Hoping this breaks the log jam. 6.5 years on YouTube. Nice. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like when you are going, like when all of your new content is about one thing and you have all this old content about another thing, it can really make for a messy channel, in terms of just, like you're growing the channel from this crowd, but then you're publishing content over here that these people don't care about. And yeah, so good call on that one. Let's see here. US. Okay. You want to come to the US? Abcami, PUBG moments. No. Okay. So let's see here. Next up on our list here. If you have a question right now, drop it in the chat. So make sure you put a Q in front of it or write the word question so that I know it's for me and not a conversation in the side chat, or not a side conversation. And then we'll start grabbing them out of the chat here. So first up, we got Lil Crafty Nook says, I have 4 videos a month that are the same, but just progressions. Part 1, part 2. I verbally tease the next video as to what my process will be next. Is it okay to put part 1, etc.? It is, but one thing to think about is when you start putting like part 1, part 2, things like that on videos, is as soon as you get to part 2, then you are suggesting from the outside that in order to watch that video, that they should probably keep up on, or they should probably catch up on part 1, which most people won't go through the effort to do. So because of that, I wouldn't worry about that sort of thing. So one of the things that YouTube recommends in the YouTube Creator Academy is they recommend that when you are publishing content, that each piece of content is standalone and that you don't have to have like context as you're watching that new piece of content. So even though you're showing these different progressions, I would try to think of a way that you can package them each individually as their own piece of content. And then I would put them together in a playlist or a series playlist and try to drive viewers into that playlist. That would be the approach that I would take versus putting, part 1, part 2, part 3. It would be, this is my playlist about, my progression through all these different things. And then I would just try to drive the viewers into that playlist and spread awareness about that playlist. I mean, of course, again, it's okay to put the, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. But like, by the time you get to part 4, that's like, hey, if I click on this, then that means I got 3 other videos that I might have to watch to even understand what's even happening in this video, right? So because of that, if you can try to make them to where they don't need the other videos, or they don't suggest that you might need the other videos, I think that your click-through rate just by itself will improve. But I think that it'll also just make it easier content to be able to consume, because then you're isolating each piece of content as a standalone versus it needing the support of the other pieces of content, so to speak. Let's see here as we keep on going here. So next up, we've got OBS saying, I was thinking of changing my name because when you search me, it's the videos of the app OBS. And even if you filter to channel, it's still hard to find. Yeah, I would change the name. Yeah, because OBS, like as soon as somebody sees that has any type of streaming knowledge, then, that's a really popular piece of streaming software. So I would definitely change the name. If it was me. Of course, do what you like, but if it was me, I would definitely change that name like right away. So this is a funny question. So Jade says, what is your favorite Thai dish that you could never live without again? Even though I live here, I don't eat Thai food. I know. Yeah, right. So I don't eat Thai food, even though I live here. My diet is still pretty much a Western diet. And I eat Indian food, Mexican food, all of that stuff. But yeah, Thai food, it just doesn't. My taste buds in Thai food just don't get along that great. So the reason that your impressions are higher than your actual views are because, so who here knows what an impression is? So basically, because I know, there's a lot of people here. I believe a majority of you are under 1,000 subscribers. So because of that, I'm trying to be extra cautious and extra, mindful of the language that I use. But when it comes to an impression, just in case you don't know what an impression is when YouTube shows your videos to somebody on the platform. That's it. So they show your thumbnail and your title to somebody somewhere on the platform. So the reason that your impressions are higher than your views is because they're showing your videos to people, but people aren't, like all of those people that they're showing them to on all the different surfaces on YouTube, on all the different devices, they're not all clicking on your video. That's why you have a higher amount of impressions and views. So the goal is to try through your click-through rate, of course, try to get as many of those impressions as possible to click through your thumbnail and title to get to the actual video content. Like that's the goal, right? And then once they hit the video content, of course, giving them a great experience from there. Let's see here. Next up on the list, there's actually, I'm going to check on something here really quick because I think, okay, it's not what I thought it was. Okay. So, let's see here. So next up on the list, we've got Satis Lens. If I can find it down here. There we go.
Superchat.
So Satis Glenn says, 2 of my videos now rank second on YouTube search. Should I change the thumbnail? Does that impact the ranking? Should I make a part 2 of those videos? So if they already rank well in search, one, I would make sure that you're looking for multiple accounts, not just your own account. I would make sure you're also looking in incognito because search results always shift around. And like, for example, if somebody watches a lot of your content, even if you don't show, let's say that I watched your content all the time. And then I searched for something where if you normally wouldn't show up there, but you're somewhere, further down in those results, YouTube will surface your channel. If I watch it a lot, your content for that, just because I'm interacting with your content, which means that there's a higher likelihood that I'm going to click on one of your videos since I'm watching your content a lot. So they'll, it kind of moves stuff around that way, but there's also content that will stick to, that like top 3 to 5 search results as well. And, they'll move around, but they'll stick in those spots based on them just being high performing content. So when you have videos that are ranked, number 2, then they're probably ranked, in that area, somewhere for a lot of people, but I would just confirm that. So I would look from, different accounts. I would look in incognito mode and just kind of see where you show up. But if you still are there, then in that case, I wouldn't mess with the thumbnail because you're already, in a good spot and you're already getting traffic from there. That's why you're showing up there still. And the thumbnails can impact the ranking, just like your titles can. And it's not just your thumbnail and title, though. It's actually your thumbnail and your title and the performance of the video itself. So what they're trying to do from search is they're trying to, of course, deliver a good experience for their viewers. But part of that is they're trying to generate as much watch time per impression as possible compared to the other search results there, or the other videos that you're competing against. So because of that, it comes down to how you have your video optimized. It also comes down to your click-through rate. It also comes down to the performance of the video. After they watch your video, do they click on another video to go deeper into your content, deeper into YouTube, or do they end up leaving the platform? Those types of things. But one of the things that you want to make sure that you're thinking about is when it comes to changing the thumbnail, it impacts the ranking because it can cause people to respond to your video differently. So if you change the thumbnail and or title, then what you're going to run into there is the people that are interacting with YouTube it's going to create a different response for those people. And that response could be better or it could be worse. So because of that, it can impact your ranking in a positive way or a negative way, as long as the video performance stays the same based on the expectation that you're creating with your title and thumbnail. And if you change that, so absolutely, your thumbnail and title impact the ranking. However, changing those can also help or hurt the video as well. In terms of making a part 2, if you have 2 of them that are already ranking well in search, then in that case, I wouldn't necessarily try to, have all of the search results be yours. What I would do instead is if you do make a part 2 or you make another version of those videos, because you already have 2 in search. So what I would do is I call this a Hail Mary. And that basically means that you're just kind of trying your hand and your skill set at trying to grab more attention from recommendations instead of search. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I have these 2 in search already. If I'm going to make a video on a similar topic, I'm going to package it differently so that I can try to get more attention from the recommendation features, since I'm already getting traffic from search for similar videos. So then in that case, what you're doing is you're having some of your content go out for the purpose of search, and then you're having some of your content go out as Hail Marys for the purpose of trying your hand at trying to get more attention from home pages and recommended videos. And the idea when you're looking at the 2 different ones is that when you go into YouTube search and people are looking for your content in search, it's easy because they're looking for what it is that you made, right? They're actively, hey, I'm looking for this video. And then YouTube's like, hey, here's some videos that you're looking for, right? So you're only competing with a few people for that topic. And the person is already proven to be interested in what it is that you made. So it's easy to get people to click there. The hard part is the recommendation features, because when it comes to the recommendation features, now it's a totally different game, because the people that you are trying to get to click on your content at that point in time, those people didn't expect to watch your content. They didn't expect to see your content. They might not even be familiar with your YouTube channel. They might not have ever ran across your channel before. They might have been coming on to look for something completely different, but YouTube is showing your content to them front and center on the homepage. So what you need to do there is try your hand at thinking of, okay, if somebody, like, it's easy in search because I can just, optimize for a phrase that people would be looking for. My title and my packaging there, is also representative of that phrase. So then it just makes sense all the way through for the viewer. But now, when you're trying to grab the attention from the homepage, you're playing a different game, because now what it is that you have to do is you have to, one, be able to grab their attention, right? Compared to the other stuff that they're seeing there, you have to grab their attention. So you have to be able to help them identify through your thumbnail through the imagery that you're using in your thumbnail, that what you're making is something that they would be interested in. And then of course you have to add some type of compelling elements to it to make sure that when they see that on the homepage, it's not just, how to do XYZ as an example, to where you have to take it up a notch so that you can lean more on the compelling side of things to try to get people to actually click on it. So the example that I gave earlier, I'm not sure if you were here, but the example that I gave earlier was about the A10 Mini Pro that I use right here. And the example that I gave was, if you're trying to get this to show up in search, then you could do, like how to use A10 Mini Pro, how to set up A10 Mini Pro, something like that. But if you're trying to grab attention off of a homepage, the approach is different. So because of that, you could put A10 Mini Pro in there. You just have to workshop exactly what it is that you would say to make it more compelling, but you wouldn't go after like how to set it up, even from like a topic standpoint, because you're trying to go for like a broader audience and you're trying to grab their attention. So because of that, you would say to yourself like, okay, with this, who would use this? Live streamers would use this. So because of that, I'm going to frame the whole thing around, like this live streaming, or this device will change the way you live stream, right? And then there you could even put at the end -A10 Mini Pro ISO. So then you also have that keyword in there, which could also help you show up in search as well. But the idea there is you're trying to grab the attention of those live streamers in that scenario, of people that are interested in live streaming, to where they, out of their curiosity, is like, wait, I'm a live streamer, bam, connected there. Now, how is this device going to, change the way that I live stream, right? So, or this, this device makes live streaming easier, makes it cool, whatever it is that you do. But the framing of what it is that you're doing is different when you're trying to grab attention from the recommendation features compared to what it is that you're doing in search. So that was really long. That was a really long answer for your question. So I hope I answered that, efficiently, and in alignment with what it was that you were looking for. But hopefully that did the trick for you there. So next up on our list, we've got Kim Magar Dubai. Thank you for the super sticker there. I appreciate it. We also have Ask UV. Says, I get surpassed big time on my main keyword. Any tip on how to get it back? I made the mistake to diverse from it by adding a live show that didn't match the keyword at all. So here's the thing. So authority is definitely a thing on YouTube, but each individual video, if you're getting surpassed on a specific keyword search result, or a specific search result, it's because it's not because of your mistake of adding a live show. It's because people aren't responding to you for that search result, the content that you're publishing, as at a high rate as they are to the other people that are also showing up that search result. So because of that, what you need to look at is, instead of it being, instead of making it about the live show, because that's not what did it. Instead of looking at it from that perspective, you need to start looking at it from the videos to where I am showing up in search, the videos where I am getting, the traffic that I want. You need to go into your traffic sources for those particular videos and look at what that performance looks like for those terms, and use that as like a general idea in terms of looking at your current content from your traffic sources report and seeing how it's performing in search, right? Because if you go into your audience retention reports, that's going to be average. If you go into your click-through rate, that's going to be average. But if you nail it down to the traffic source, then if you're targeting search and you're trying to, show up for a specific keyword, then you can start noticing there, okay, here, my click-through rate is abysmal in search and my audience retention isn't that great in search. That's why I'm not showing up. So because of that, maybe start thinking of, hey, can I repackage this in some way through a different thumbnail and title that will get people to click on it more? The video content is already made, so not a lot you can do there except make another one, and then try to make that one better based on the information that you're getting through your audience retention reports on how people are responding to the current ones that you have. But ultimately, if you're not getting search traffic, but you're targeting search, it's because people are not responding to your content in YouTube search. YouTube search is the same exact thing in terms of the other surfaces of YouTube. Same exact thing as suggested videos, same exact thing as YouTube homepage, to where performance is the thing, video performance is the thing that causes your videos to stick in certain places, or not necessarily to stick, but just to be recommended more or shown more when people are looking for specific things or interested in specific things. So it comes down to the performance of your content. So you need to go in and start looking at your audience retention reports, how people are responding to your videos there, make changes to your future content to create better content for them based on the data that you're getting back through your audience retention reports. And then of course, making sure that you are making, solid titles and thumbnails that, that generate the clicks that you need to be competitive on the platform. Let's see here. Hey, Paul Peck, Drywall Tube. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. I know you were in here earlier too, but just wanted to, as I was scrolling through, I was like, hey, what's up? What's up, dude? All right. So let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got, if you got a question, go ahead and drop it in here right now. From Morocco. What's up? Let's see here. So how can I increase subscribe? I get no subscribe. So the reason you're not getting subscribers right now is because the people that are interacting with your content, the value that you are giving to them is not clear yet. So what you need to do is you need to, one, think about the value that people are getting from your content and really lean into that. One of the ways that you can lean into it is by putting together a value proposition. Value proposition is basically to where you summarize what it is that you offer on your YouTube channel into like a sentence or a phrase. And then through that sentence or phrase, you can drop that into your videos as part of your, like, hey, I'm Ali or Ali. Hey, I'm Ali. Hey, I'm Ali. Welcome to Ali's speech where we do X, Y, Z. Today we're talking about this, right? And by saying that part of, where we do X, Y, Z, you're essentially illustrator telling people that, you have more content on the channel, like the content that they're watching, right? So one, they know that your channel's a resource for that. Two, you start slowly spreading that awareness through that quick little introduction that's non-interruptive. But then ultimately, of course, I'm not sure, because you say that you're trying to get people to subscribe, but I'm not sure if you're getting views. If you're getting views, but those people aren't turning or converting into subscribers, then in that case, it's just, it's not clear to them the value that they're getting out of your content. So what you need to do is you need to sit back and you need to be like, okay, what exactly is it that I'm delivering to people here in terms of value, and really start making sure that you're just giving that value as much as you possibly can, but also that you're spreading awareness that you have additional value through the additional content that you have. Like if you're getting views, but they're not subscribing, then in that case, I would start working on the overall value. But if you're getting views, you're having some people subscribe, but you're trying to increase that rate of subscribe, then in that case, spreading that awareness through your value proposition of what it is that you offer will help you do that as well. Benji Travis in the house. What is up, my man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Says, since you don't like Thai food, what is your favorite restaurant to eat at in Thailand? It's called Salsa Kitchen. My favorite restaurant to eat here is called Salsa Kitchen, and it is delicious. It's Mexican food, as you can probably tell by the name, but it's Salsa Kitchen. It's great. Another place that I love to eat is called the Grill of India. Man, I could just oh God, it's so good. Like between those two places, even though I don't eat there all the time, I eat at home a lot, but between those two places, like I could literally live off of those places. Might not live long, but I could live off of I could live off of those places. Okay, so let's see here. So how much does my equipment cost? So a lot of it's been accumulated over time. So when I first got started with my YouTube channel, I, invested in some, cameras and stuff, or a camera, and, it got the job done. And the reason that I invested in a camera is because I knew that I was going to try to take it seriously. Once I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it. So I was like, if I'm going to do it, I might as well, try to do it, to the best of my ability at the time. And part of that was like, hey, I'm going to take some of my money and I'm going to get like a nice camera and microphone so that I can make sure that I give myself the best possible chance if I'm going to try this. So in terms of the rest of it, I've accumulated over time. I mean, there's a decent amount of money in the stuff, but I've accumulated over time. But keep in mind, even though, when you look at like my setup and stuff, it looks expensive, and some of it is. Keep in mind that, this is a business. And since it's a business, a lot of this stuff gets written off on taxes and all of that. So it makes it not as expensive, because, for some of this, I'd have to give money, to the government. So by buying a lot of this stuff, it reduces my taxable income. So even though it looks expensive, some of it is bought for that reason as well, because it's like, hey, I can get this and reduce my taxable income, or I can not get it and then end up having to, pay Uncle Sam, a little bit more. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list here. We've got... So, great question here from Shanae Model says, how many views per video and watch time per video indicate that my channel is growing when I've got 200 plus subscribers? So to see that your channel is growing, then of course the very first thing that you need to do is you need to attach some type of thing that you're tracking to it. So if you are somebody that's trying to generate income from your YouTube channel as the primary thing, then the way that you'd be able to indicate that your channel is growing, or that what you're trying to accomplish, that you're achieving that goal, is that, of course, every single month your income would be, rising a little bit, or a lot, every single month. If your goal is to get more views on your videos, then of course, as your videos over time, or you start accumulating more views over the course of the month, then that would mean your channel is growing. If your goal is to generate more subscribers on your channel, then in that case, if your subscriber count every month is continuing to climb, then in that case, your channel is growing. So, it can be the same numbers every single month, but as long as those same numbers are there and you're bringing in more and more people and getting more and more views, then in that case, it's still growing. So in terms of indications that your channel is growing, of course, it's going to be based on exactly what it is that your goals are attached to. And those are the things that you want to track. So another thing as well, like if you're making content where you're just trying to connect with others who enjoy what it is that you enjoy, then in that case, like your comment section could be your indicator of doing the right thing. So, it might not necessarily be based on like, hey, I've got, thousands of views on this video. You could have 100 views on that video, but you could have 10 people that show up for every single video in the comment section because they love what it is that you're doing. They get the value from it. They like your personality. They love that you interact with them in the comments. Then in that case, you're growing your community. So then if your goal is to grow a community of like-minded people that are into similar things, then in that case, pay attention to your comment section, because that is going to be the thing that is going to help give you some feedback there on if that's working. Part of that also is if people are sending you emails and DMs and different platforms and stuff like that. Those are also things that you can use to let you know that you're doing that right thing as well. So we are now at the end of the show. So one thing that I want to encourage everybody here to do is, first off, make sure that on your way out that you give this a thumbs up. Second is, over the course of this next week, especially, for those of you, when I first, started the stream, I was asking, about, if you're new here. So for those of you that are new that haven't heard this before, there's a lot of stuff that we talked about in the stream today. And if you're just getting started, a lot of it can be overwhelming, and you might be thinking like, man, there's a lot of stuff that I have to do here. And it might be kind of overwhelming where you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or whatever. You can do this, and you can go through the learning curve that I was talking about earlier. But one thing that I recommend that you do to make all of that easier is that instead of looking at your channel and what it is that you're doing and saying like, okay, I got to do all of these things. So now I have to, as soon as the stream's over, I got to open up my channel and I got to do all of these things. Instead of taking that approach, just say, okay, I'm going to write down, I'm going to take notes during the live streams, of course, and then I'm just going to focus on like a few things, one thing or a few things over the course of this next week, so where I can really get a good understanding of that particular thing, so that one, when it's talked about next time, I'll understand it a little bit better. Two, so that I can start actually applying some of this stuff to my channel, but I'm not just applying a bunch of stuff at once. I'm applying like things that make sense to me right now, and then I'm progressing through, and then I'll apply more stuff as I go along, right? So I just encourage you to, instead of trying to do all the things at once, that you just kind of focus on doing some of the things that made sense to you, and that you start trying to apply those things right away. Because, all the stuff that we talk about, it works. It helps people, get more views, gets more subscribers, get more revenue, and all the things that they're trying to do on their YouTube channels. So because of that, all you have to do is take the information and apply it and put in that energy to, learning how to do some of the things that we talked about today. So, like there was one comment that we pulled up earlier where they were talking about, just being demotivated and discouraged with what it is that they're doing. I do want to remind you as well that, YouTube is hard. Just like, learning how to garden is hard. Just like learning how to play an instrument is hard. Just like, going to the gym is hard. Just like, anything else that you do, there's learning curves attached to it. And it's really easy to see other content creators that are, successful already and look at it like, oh, hey, they're doing all this cool stuff and my videos don't look like that yet. They don't sound like that yet. I'm not getting that response yet. And it's real easy to get discouraged by that, by comparing yourself to, some of those other creators. But just keep in mind that like you're driving on your own road here. You're doing everything at your own pace and you can get there and you will get there. But in order to do it, you have to make sure that you're applying the things that you learn and that you're constantly seeking improvement through what it is that you're doing. Okay. Because as soon as you start like coasting and you're like, I don't really want to do that thing. I'm just going to do this instead or whatever. Then as soon as you start, kind of coasting on that information, then you're going to end up, just kind of stagnating and all that. So because of that, I just encourage you to just start applying the stuff that you learned today, but don't try to do everything at once. Just try to, apply the things that resonate right now. And then of course, as you progress, then start going more and more as you get moving on your channels. So with all of that said, I hope you learned something today. I hope that you had a good time in the watching the stream today. Mods, thank you for holding it down. Everybody that comes here on a regular basis and just hangs out. Thank you guys just for being a part of the community. I really appreciate you and just appreciate you being here and showing up all the time. Even though I know like Professor Nez, for example, he'll come in late, but he always tries to stop by. Super appreciate it, man. And everybody just keep doing your thing. And I'm rooting for every single one of you. Like one of the things I was actually talking to my girlfriend and I was telling her, I was like, it's funny, like when people are interacting with my content, like they don't even know how much I'm rooting for them because like your success also means like my success as well, right? Because like the more of you that I can help, the more of you that are also going to tell like other friends that you have as YouTubers to come check out my stuff and all of that. So like I'm really rooting hard for you guys, right? So make sure that that you're applying this stuff because the way that you start getting things moving, if things aren't moving for you currently, the way that you get things moving is through application of the new things that you learn and just constantly trying to improve. So hope everybody has a great weekend. If you're in the US, have an awesome 4th of July weekend. And I will see you guys 9 a.m. Eastern next week. And have an awesome 4th of July weekend. And stay safe out there with the fireworks. And I will see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description below this stream. See you next week.
So you're still here, huh? Oh, so you're still here. Yeah, so so I just figured I would just leave it running for a while and just kind of see, like, you know, hey, if I just leave this running, will people still like hang out? Like, what's going on? So basically, I was trying to get the there's one game where it has like the paddle on it's like a ping pong. I was trying to get that to work, but I couldn't get it to work. So I ended up just going through like a really small part of the Phantom Ops, I think it's called. It's fun game, but it's just not really that exciting, like at the at the moment. But yeah, I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna go live, or I'm just gonna leave it on and just kind of see how long people stuck around for. And amazingly, though, still like 120 something people like just hanging out. Yeah, I was like, oh yes, this is gonna be interesting. I was actually for a little bit, I was trying to see the chat in the VR as well, because I turned on the stream and I could see the stream, but because I'm not signed in on there, I couldn't see the actual live chat, so I had to shut it down. I was like, oh man, can't even see the chat, because I was just gonna watch and see what you guys were saying. No, it's just gonna be kind of a clown over there on the stuff while I was watching the comments, but it didn't work out because I wasn't signed in. Hey, Roberto, Blake in the house. What's up, man? So hope you're doing awesome, Roberto. Hey, Lola Mel's Kitchen.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure that you go to nimminvip.com, fill out all the information on the way in. It's going to redirect you to the Facebook group. Make sure that you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you're a member over there. Yeah, but Neil called me. He was like, Neil called and he's like, hey, you're still alive. I'm like, yeah, that was good stuff. I'm actually going to check my Facebook messages and see if any, Roberto sent me a message. Benji sent me a message. Yeah, it's good. Love it. Oh, good stuff there. Oh, Roberto tried to call too. Yeah, thanks for the heads up there. Yeah, didn't mean to cause a thing there. See, now what's going to happen? That will end up being like a what's that, like Boy Who Cried Wolf thing. So that'll end up being like I will accidentally leave the stream on, and because people are like, oh, he probably did it on purpose, then nobody will like contact me about it, and I'll do something really inappropriate, which would be hilarious. So let's see here. So again, everybody have an awesome 4th of July, and I will see you guys next week, 9 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Have an awesome 4th of July weekend. Take care.